7.
Contributions. In Ghana, the story may not be the same. The question is why? Well, this is the conversation we're about to have, because even if you come to our traditional space, when you come to our tourism space, tourism isn't just about what you see. It's not just about going to Kakum National Park or the Cape Coast or Elmina Castles. It is also about what you feel, what you hear, what you taste, what you experience. And when you go into a traditional setting, throughout our rites of passage, from the day a child is born, throughout the naming, to that time that the child even begins to work, to the time that person begins to get married and go through puberty and everything else, even till death, music plays a very, very, very important role. So, where is that connect? Music business and tourism. Is there really even a conversation? To start it, I'm going to go to my brother, Quaye, AJ, who is a data and research analyst with Joy News and Joy 99.7 FM, who's going to give us a bit of a perspective into the contribution of tourism and music. What does the future really hold for Ghana? It's a conversation we'll have later on, and we've got experts for that. But my brother, Quaye AJ, has taken a seat. Quaye, his stand at the podium. Quaye, how are you doing?
Well, I'm not really myself because Chelsea is down by 3-0.
You are not yourself. Who are you?
Charlie. First half, 3 goals.
Yeah, don't worry. It will get worse. But let us bring the conversation home and take us through your, information. I hear you've done some crack research that you're about to share with us, some beautiful numbers that we're about to see, some statistics that would help put this conversation into proper perspective.
Well, I just have 10 minutes to take us through music and tourism, Ghana's hidden cash cow.
Ghana's hidden cash cow.
Yeah.
I love that. Quaye, educate us.
Well, so I'm going to use data from the World Bank, the Ministry of Tourism and Arts, and then also data from the World Economic Forum, and then also Statista to actually paint a picture for us what we have. So when I say music and tourism, a cash cow, what do I simply mean? Now, I'll be talking about music and then also tourism as well, but I'll start with music. But with music, I'll only do music streaming because that's where data is available.
Yeah.
There's a huge gap in the music industry, especially when you come to Ghana. So I can't talk 100% about the entire industry, but I only talk about music streaming because that's where data is available. So I'll start on the global scale, the outlook. So if you look at 2022, music streaming alone, the revenue projection is at $31.7 billion.
Wow.
That's the value of just music streaming globally. Now, if you project by 2027, that is supposed to move from $31.7 billion to $44.9 billion. Now, let's make some comparative analysis. So we know Ghana as a country, we intend to raise somewhere around 100.5 billion Ghana cedis as revenue, total revenue from cocoa, from gold, everywhere. That's 100.5 billion Ghana cedis. Now, just look at music streaming. Its revenue is 31.7 billion. So if I convert this to Ghana cedis, let me be diplomatic and use the Bank of Ghana interbank rate of 13. This will be about, if you convert Ghana's 100.5 billion cedis into dollars, that will be around, let's say, 8 billion. Now, 8 billion, that's a country of 31 million people. Or 30.8 million people. And you compare our total revenue, which is just 8 billion, and what music streaming is bringing on the table, 31.7 billion. It means that the revenue that music streaming is bringing is more or less like 4 times what we are raising here as a country. So that is the cash cow that we are talking about. This is just music. If you move from the global scale and you come to where we are, Ghana, local, what are we actually getting as a country from music streaming? So digital music allows customers to have permanent and unlimited access to music content. I'm sure we've all moved forward. I'm not sure I have a lot of songs on my phone that whenever I want to listen to, I just go to that. I only probably go to some of the music libraries like, Boomplay or Spotify or any other one, and I'll just stream the song that I want. It means times have changed. If you look at on the Ghanaian perspective, from the Ghanaian perspective, 2022 music streaming is supposed to bring in $1.22 million. So if you compare this to the global revenue projection, you can see we are far behind. If you do some bit of analysis and you project to 2027, this will move from 1.22 million to 1.9 million. We are still nowhere close to even $3 million. But usually when you're talking about Ghana, it is fair you talk about Nigeria as well because, you know, and because of the jollof and other things that we all compare ourselves to. So I want us to compare Ghana and Nigeria, what we are getting from music streaming. So 2022, Nigeria is getting $11 million. Ghana is getting $1.22 million. If you project to 2027, Nigeria will be getting 19.97 million. From music streaming, we will be getting 1.9. So I just want you to look at the variance between what Nigeria is actually getting and then what Ghana is also getting. There's a huge height or variance between what Ghana is getting and then what Nigeria is also earning. But there's good news. If you look at Spotify, their 2022 report, they, you know, in 2021, they launched their service in about 80 new markets, and Ghana was part. And so if you look at the top 8 places that they really got revenue or they had people streaming a lot of music, Ghana was part of these 8 countries, and then, you know, Pakistan was number 1, and our own Nigeria was number 2. Kenya, number 3. Bangladesh, number 4. Sri Lanka, bankrupt country, number 5. Ghana is number 6 over there. So, well, there's some bit of good news also. So if you look at this session, it says that over 40% of Ghanaian drill, you know, genre as a car is streamed in the US and then also in the UK. So that is some bit of good news for us. It means that we are really doing well on Boomplay, but if you compare it to how much we are getting as revenue, 1.22 million, is nothing really to write home about. So that is music streaming. I also want us to do some bit of analysis on tourism. So this was 2019, our top 4 revenue, you know, exchange earners for Ghana before COVID. And if you rank the top 4 commodities that brought in dollars, at this juncture, dollars is very important because everything we are doing is now more or less like dollars. So if you have something that is bringing you dollars, you really have to cherish it. 2019, before COVID struck, if you look at the top 4 revenue generators, as far as exchange earning is concerned, cocoa was number 1, followed by gold, and there was oil and gas, and our very own tourism, number 4. So this is an industry that we cannot play with. So if you take away gold, oil, and then also cocoa, tourism actually earns Ghana a lot of dollars every year. So 2019, how many people arrived in Ghana for the purposes of tourism? We had 1.1 million. This was the year that we did the year of return, right? 1.1 million people arrived in Ghana for the purposes of tourism. So if you look at the receipts, that was 3.3 billion. That's how much we got as a country just because of tourism. And contribution to GDP was around 5%. Now, you know, the story has been different if you compare before and after COVID. So if you look at the number of jobs created by the tourism industry, you can actually see that right from 2018, we had over 602,000 jobs created. This moved to 662,000 in 2019 when we had the same year of return. Then there was COVID. So what you realize is that, right, you know, when COVID struck, we saw that the number of jobs created by the tourism industry did what? A decline from 662,000 to now over 229,000. And then when we actually eased the COVID restrictions, what we saw is that it is now picking up to somewhere around 252,000. So I have not really done any perfect correlations or correlation analysis, but I can say by observation that there is a direct relationship between, the people that come in, the receipts we get from tourism, and then also what we are actually getting. So you can actually see that we're getting a lot from tourism before COVID came in in 2020, and then now we are getting somewhere around just $350 million from tourism. So if you look at this table, it means that every tourist that arrive in Ghana, currently we are getting about $2,000 from them. Every tourist that arrives in Ghana, the revenue the country gets about $2,000. So this is very important that we have to look at. If you look at the top, places that tourism is really contributing to GDP in Africa, the picture is there. She shows, we have Cape Verde, Mauritius, Kenya. Ghana is also there in 2017, 3%. It has actually moved forward now to somewhere around 5%. Now, if you also look at the international receipts we get from tourism, I want to compare Ghana, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. So at a point, you saw that Ghana had a lot of money. We're getting a lot of revenue from tourism. Then at a later point, Nigeria took over. And then they started declining when they had this, the unrest in some parts of Nigeria. And then when COVID struck, we are all seeing some asymptotic movements between what Nigeria and Ghana are all getting from tourism. But I really want to end with this huge gap for George and the panelists to actually look at. If you look at what we are getting as a country, this is Ghana, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast. Look at how much South Africa is getting. There's a huge gap between how much Ghana is getting and how much South Africa is getting. We are actually blessed with a lot of natural capital that we have to take advantage of. So what must we do to actually close this gap? At this point, I'll leave to George and the panelists to actually deliberate on this.
Give it up for my brother, Isaac Kofi AJ, data and research analyst, Joy News and Joy FM. Look, I mean, he couldn't have put it any better. And he has set our conversation in the right perspective. If you're ready, it is time to hear from our speakers. And here's our first keynote speaker for the afternoon.
Rex Omar. Rex Omar, real name Rex Owusu-Mafo, is a high life artist. He first rose to prominence in 1989 with the Awaripa album, which also included the track Udofo Nehwai. Following this, in 1992, he formed the high life supergroup Nakorex together with Fortin. In 1992, he formed the High Life supergroup Nakorex with fellow High Life artists Natbrew and Akosua Japan. He then pursued a solo career. In 2004, Omar was nominated for a Kora Award, and in 2005, he was nominated as Artist of the Year in the Ghana Music Awards. Following the breakup of the group, he became the board chairman of the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO, and an advocate for greater copyright protections for Ghanaian musicians.
For Mr. Rex Omar.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. The topic I've been given this afternoon is the importance of royalty in the life of a musician. I want to say emphatically here that based on the research I've done, 98% of people who get into music in this country don't do any business analysis. They just go in. But we must understand that music is business, just like any other business. Even an ice water seller, if he wants to just go and buy sachet water and sell, he will analyze. How much will I buy it? How much will I sell it? At the end of the day, how much will I get? It is only in music that people are driven by passion. So he's got a song. He'll just look for money anyhow just rush to studio, record the music, and most artists are satisfied because I've been able to record what I feel. Yeah. The next thing, today's social media, he just jump and put it on social media. By the time he realized, sometimes by default, the song has become a hit. All the business parameters that were supposed to have been set up before has not been done. And at the end of the day, everything is lost. Then he gets frustrated. Now let me start dealing with my topic. We have various royalties, different types of royalties. Royalties that comes from collective management organizations such as GAMRO, we call it performing rights. It is one aspect of royalty. And then we have royalties that come from streaming. And let me explain this. Before digitization, we used to sell cassettes and CDs. So if you had finished your work and then you have given it to a distributor or a record company or executive producer who produced you, will go and manufacture the cassette and the CDs, and as he sells, he pays you, the artist, your royalties. That money comes to you and your manager direct. It doesn't go through any collective management organization. And it is this that has become the streaming and the digital platform. On the digital platform, now nobody is selling physical, fixated cassette or CD. Though in Europe, they are still selling. But the streaming is going up. So the monies that you were supposed to have been gotten from record sales, now you are getting it from streaming. But then, that is another form of royalty. Then there's another one that we call publishing. Publishing has to deal with this exploitation of the song. Because before a song is recorded, it has been given birth to. Because as you decide to go to studio, what are you going to record? There is a song before you go to record. So as you're going to record, is in a studio that you are going to determine the commercialization of the music, either you are recording it in jazz or Afro-pop or reggae or whatever, depending on the market. All these things, if there was business attached to it, the business questions that must be asked: what is my targeted audience? What type of music am I doing? If it's in Ghana, if I want to be like Shatta Wale, why should people stop buying Shatta Wale's music in Ghana and buy my music? All these things must be considered before you go to studio. How am I going to market it? Where are my revenue streams? We don't do all these things. We just jump and go and record. Nyame type of business, you know. Publishing is another form of royalties, and it's very, very important in the life of every musician, especially songwriters. We have to clarify the difference between a songwriter or a right owner and a musician. Though Trigmatic, the performer or the musician, is different from Trigmatic, the songwriter. Because Trigmatic can write a song for Rex Omar to go and sing. Yeah. The fact that Rex Omar has sung Trigmatic's song does not make Rex Omar the owner of the song. So any royalty that comes from publishing, synchronization, or performing rights, that money goes to Trigmatic. We must understand this clear. Musicians, most cases, are paid in the studio. Come and play guitar for me. How much are you charging me? You charge me, I pay you. We call them session people. You pay, I pay you, end of story. Unless you are a star guitarist and you say, no, I don't want to be paid. I want a point on the song. In that scenario, I sign an agreement with you that, okay, I give you 1%, 2% on this particular song. So when we declare the song, any royalty that comes, the collective management will pay you directly. Most people don't go that way. They'll collect their money. And at the end of the day, they'll come and cry foul. So we must understand, publishing is very, very important because it is the work of a publisher to exploit the song. They are the people who will look for films so that your music can be used as synchronization or soundtrack, or now you know this games that comes in,
Yeah.
and you can put, as long as your publisher is powerful, all you need is one song when published. One. Excuse me, they are not publishers, and stuff like that, and we end up calling them publisher. Because if you are a good songwriter and you have a good publisher, you don't necessarily have to sing. You can be sitting in Ghana writing songs, and you have some top American artists singing your songs, and you are here quietly making your money. And these are the issues that needs to be dealt with. So now we have monies that come from CMOs, which is Gamro, SASEM, and all these places. And let me give this clearance here so that people must understand. A lot of Ghanaian musicians think that if they are not a member of Gamro and they are living in Ghana, they are not a member of Gamro, but they want to join a foreign CMO. That is okay. The foreign CMO only will give you money when your music is exploited there. It's not like here that Gamro is not the way it's supposed to be. So we collect the money, we share for everybody. Somebody who has not sold a peswa will just come and say, we are the members of Gamro, why haven't you given me money? A time will come, if your music is not used, you will not get a penny. So if you're a Ghanaian artist, research has proven that if wherever you are based is your prime market, you can join Gamro for, say, Africa. And if you wish, you can join another collective society for the rest of the world, if you wish so. I am a member of Gamro, and I'm a member of Suiza in Switzerland. Nothing stops. Previously, you could only join one, but now you can join two. So you can take advantage of that. It is important. Most of Ghanaian artists, as I became the chairman of Gamro, I called them personally, come and register. They say, I'll send my boys. Registering your song has nothing to do with your boys. It is your property. Come and put it in a place that it can bring you income. Because Gamro needs, because for example, if Trigmatic has written a song, everybody knows him as Trigmatic. But Trigmatic is his stage name, it's not his real name. Yeah. And the song ownership needs your real name. Who wrote this song? My name is Rex Omar, but my real name is Rex Owusu Mafo. My songs bear Rex Owusu Mafo, not Rex Omar. Sakodie, he's called something Owusu. Michael Owusu. You know, so these are important things that needs to be done, so as to be able, if you really want to in future collect some royalties. So that one aspect is there. The digital streaming is very, very important, but digital streaming, you have to have a good management, or you yourself must understand music management if you want to manage yourself and set up a structure that follows up. Because there are so many digital platforms. Will you be able as a musician to follow it up yourself? No. You have to deal with So for example, Trigmatic is very popular, and a clothing line will sign an agreement with him that we will use you to design shirts, glasses. You know, all the time I used to do this. So it got to a point I wanted to release my own goggles, Rex Omar. And because people know me wearing glasses, and if they like me and they are my fans, they want to be like me, so go and buy the glasses. I wouldn't want to spend my money myself as a Rex Omar to go, so I'll team up with a company. They will produce these glasses, and as they are marketing, they will give me my royalties. They will use your name to build a shirt, a t-shirt, whatever it is. These are the areas that royalties come from. So when people are saying, and my royalties, it makes people think that Gamro collects all royalties that comes to musicians. It's not true. It is only a little aspect of royalties, the ones that you yourself alone cannot chase. Radio stations, no artist. Can you imagine that the numerous artists in Ghana, everybody going to radio station from radio station to go and collect royalty? It will be chaos. That is why we came together to form our own company. So the company will deal with the radio stations and the music users on our behalf. Gamro is a private organization registered by the right owners themselves. But if you don't become a member and you go and sit somewhere and say, Gamro has not given me royalties, you are crying for nothing.
Right.
I think my time is up. Thank you very much.
For the chairman of the Ghana Music Rights Organization, Mr. Rex Omar. Yes. And you heard it quite clearly there. If you're a musician and you're listening, I do hope you're registered. I do hope you're a member of the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO. This is a special edition of Showbiz A to Z that we call the Showbiz Roundtable Show, proudly powered by Joy Entertainment. We're large and in charge, produced by my man Philip Nye and the entire team. We're going all the way till 6 as we usually do, and you can be a part of the conversation. Visit us on social media. Look for Joy 99.7 FM. Put your messages there. The hashtag is Showbiz Roundtable. And right about now, let's meet some of our panel members for today. The speakers that you're going to be hearing from. Take a look and take a listen.
Rose to prominence in James White. Scriptwriter and film producer, motivational speaker, is the founder and director and lead of the High Vibes Music Festival and the CEO has written and directed like Condor Press and the BBC. Anof has worked with Ghanaian artists including Kofi Ganaba, Mactonto of Osibisa, Talking Drums, Reggie Rockstone, King Aizuba, Yapono, and One Love the Kobolo. He has also worked with Matthias Fanubla of Liberia, Ade Bantu, Ayitoro, Kezia Jones, and Fu Infanteri. Panji Anof is reportedly the first African to write for the British sitcom Desmond in 1992 to 1995, which received a Royal Television Society Award in 94 and BAFTA nominations in 93 and 94 for his script.
And joining me right now, please give it up for my man Panjianov. Yes. Now he's looking more and more like Wallace Inca. Here is our next speaker.
Trigmatic. Enoch Nanayao Odro Ejay, known by his stage name Trigmatic, is an award-winning artist. In the last 15 years of his career, he's got 5 albums and 2 EPs to his credit, 11 national and international awards, including 5 VGMA awards and over 30 music award nominations, 19 of them being from the Ghana Music Awards, and he's recently been selected by Ghana's president to serve on the governing body of the National Folklore Board.
Let's hear it for my brother Trig. Numu, Minoge. Nice one. Welcome.
Thank you.
Here is our next speaker.
Trigmatic. James Abel White, affectionately called Uncle Ibo, is a playwright, author, and motivational speaker. He is the artistic director and lead writer at Roverman Productions and has written and directed 50 plays for stage since 2008. He is a social commentator and has for many years consistently presented on his bi-weekly program dubbed Food for Thought on Joy FM.
My father is in the house, but Uncle Ebo is not going to be on this table because he's a keynote speaker for the afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the legendary James Ebo White, the man who gives theater a reason in Ghana. Yeah, he's made it possible for all of us to want to follow. Uncle Ebo, we are not speaking yet. Please take your seat. Let us meet our next speaker who will come join me here at the table for the afternoon.
Commentate Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu is a media and entertainment professional, having worked his way up in the Ghanaian and African media and entertainment space within the last 16 years. Sadiq was the country director of Africa's #1 music streaming service, Boomplay, in Ghana, leading to the setting up of the Music Streaming Services Office in Ghana. He is a tough leader and resident panelist on Joy FM's entertainment flagship show, Showbiz A to Z, founder of 3 music networks. He is an aspiring politician.
Yes, man. And Shatawale has a special name for the man. He calls him the... no, I don't understand. Why is Sadiq coming to sit by me?
Just stand out so they can...
No, I won't stand up. But why is Sadiq coming to sit
It's
by me?
intentional. It's $1 to CD height.
Let's meet our next speaker for the afternoon.
Setting up of the Music Streaming Services Office in Ghana. He is a tough leader and resident panelist on Joy FM's entertainment flagship show, Showbiz A to Z, founder Rudy Quaye. Rudy is a serial entrepreneur, media personality, writer, content creator, and producer. He honed his leadership skills by previously working as brand representative for global entertainment giant Viacom's MTV base, and then as innovations manager for Ghana's leading media brand Multimedia Group Limited, the parent company for Joy FM. In addition, he currently serves as the chief executive of the Rave Group, an business with interest in marketing, communications, production, and digital marketing services. Also, he is the executive producer for Afro Nation. He still serves as the founder and chairman of the Muse Media Networks, a multi-platform youth-focused digital publisher with vertical extensions on TV and radio.
Please give it up for my brother, Rudy Quaye. Yes. So now we have a full house. Unfair gender balance, though, but it's all right. We've got women in our auditorium, so we are happy to have them here.
Designate you woman. We can designate you.
You can designate me as a woman.
You know how you have...
What's your school again?
Yes.
I mean, he went to a school that went pink. I mean,
The devil is alive. We're also live on Twitter Space and live across. I don't even know how Philip managed to put these gentlemen together. We're also live on Joy Prime and live online. We are live everywhere. Even Volodymyr Zelensky is watching us live from Ukraine. Right. And let me say special thanks to MTN, of course, High Five Chokomod from Casapreco Company Limited. Special thanks to the Labadi Beach Hotel as well for hosting us. And to all our panel members, especially our keynote speakers, who are very, very busy, but still made time to join us here this afternoon. We are very, very, very grateful. Gentlemen, good afternoon again and welcome. Trust we're all doing good.
Right.
Beautiful. We're all musicians in a way, except for Rudy. Yeah.
this
That's
life.
history.
No. Rudy doesn't have history. He doesn't have history. But talking music. Talking music, really. Let us get. I mean, I listened to Uncle Rex, and he gave us some deep insights right there. Let me ask a question a novice should ask. Where does the music business really start? Rudy, let me start from you.
Start.
Yeah, where does it start?
I think it starts really from birth. Your first cry is music to the ears of your mom. To a parent, that's the sound that you want to hear, and that really kicks it off. And if you've enjoyed fatherhood or motherhood or parenthood, it's something that you look forward to, and it doesn't really never leave you. I think and life is rhythm. It's there's no aspect of life that there's no rhythm attached to it. So I think for me, it envelopes everything that we do.
Interesting. So Panji, at which point does one decide to turn this idea of a rhythm into cash?
I think in our culture, music has always been something primarily communal. So the person who is singing the song for everybody to work on the farm doesn't expect to be paid for singing that song. Many of our musicians, historically, they did other jobs. It's just when it comes to Ojura or when it comes to Akwesidai, whatever, then They assume their other identity, which is as a performing musician. So in our culture, we have not had a tradition of turning that music into money, traditionally. So in our tradition, music is something which is free and it belongs to the community that created it. If you ask, let's say, Adoa, who created Adoa, nobody knows. But if Adoa was English or German, they will
know. They would be able to pin it to a name.
And in fact, in the case of, Agbaja and Panlogo, there are, because they are Bobobo and Panlogo, because they are very recent inventions, maybe less than 50, 70 years, often you can track it to some point. But the fact is that whoever created Bobobo, there are, tomorrow Sunday, there will be more than 1,000 groups in various churches in Ghana playing Bobobo music. Really, the creator of that Bobobo should be rich. Because everybody who is playing his music, at least 1% of that collection, should go his way. So Bobobo is at the core of a lot of church music. So because we in our traditional system, we did not have a system of monetizing. I think we are behind. But we have to catch up with the world. Right now, we live in a global world. We can't say, we do this way, therefore, we are not going to adapt. We have to adapt. We can do things our way, but somehow we have to plug into the global system. So how do we plug into the global system if it's like your phone is Type-C and then you are trying to charge it with that old Nokia 2-pin?
Interesting. Let me come to Trink before I come to Sadiq. And when I was listening to Uncle Rex speak, he did emphasize the fact that, and a lot of you guys, look, I've interviewed tons of young musicians. They don't seem to give whatever about Gumroad. And if you listen to Rex, that is a cash point. So if you're not interested and you're singing, could it be because of what Panji has just said? We started, you're on the farm, you're singing. There's no need, it's not about money. You're singing because you love to sing, and it makes the work easier and all those things. Have we been affected by tradition so much so that even where money is right there, staring at us in the face, you guys are not interested?
Yeah, to a large extent. I think it is so, but also orientation is part. Most musicians, well, even myself and most of the musicians came up, learning from other musicians who also may have learned from other musicians. And so I can borrow what Panji just said and put it to perspective. It makes a lot of sense. You didn't get that grooming that sort of commercialize the skill or the talents that you have. Most of the time is about living the music culture than looking at the revenue bit of it. And so you had seen your predecessor be big and be on big stages, and you want to mimic and you want to become like them and probably get the chance to work with them for a while. And you'll be learning from them. You never got to see the business side. You never got to see them signing contracts or understanding what it meant to sign on to Gumroad or any other thing. And so then by chance, you make a hit, or maybe by most songs are not blown out of intentional planning in this side. Like in this side, that's what I've noticed. My song, for instance, I recorded a song, the studio got robbed. I ended up hearing a song in a bar in Accra and got a copy of it. That's how I sent it back to Bones to mix. So I don't have if you listen to the song,
hold on right there.
Yeah.
So you recorded the song in the studio.
Yes.
The studio got robbed.
It got robbed.
And the thief went to release it in a bar.
I heard the song, by some means. And so I went to get a copy of it. So if you listen to the song, it's a bad mix. It's really bad. And nobody knows tomorrow.
Nobody knows tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's a very bad mix. Because we don't have the data. We don't have the data of the song. We didn't have the data. It was just the raw file. So we had to master the raw file. So you can still hear the studio sounds in the back, the talks and everything in the back. And so now that song comes out, and you have a certain kind of orientation. I think it cuts across most. I think the artists now are lucky to probably hear some of these discussions or learn from certain mistakes in the past. And most musicians are also coming out with their stories and stuff. And so then you get to hear about these things. Yeah.
Very interesting. Nobody knows tomorrow, but
but the thing is, moral of the story,
yeah.
go to bars.
Go to bars and you will hear your songs.
You will hear your songs.
Yes, of course, you're on Joy 99.7 FM and on Joy Prime Television, also on Twitter Space and across the digital space as well. It is a special edition of Showbiz A to Z called the Showbiz Round Table. And we've got some fine people in the industry, and we're talking music business and tourism. Next to me is my brother Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, who's been listening to everything that we've been talking so far. And once upon a time, Sadiq painted his hair yellow. No, he actually sprayed it. He didn't paint it.
See, so you said that living the culture, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That was the culture.
That was the culture Sadiq was living at the time.
That was the culture. That was the culture. I remember our discussions on that.
Yes.
The
Those
culture.
were the days you were managing Kaki.
And that was the days I was also on excuse me, on air person as well.
Yeah.
You're an
I was
on-air
managing my
person
own
as well.
show.
Now, I want to ask the Sadiq who was managing the artist Kaki.
Yeah.
How were you turning the brand Kaki into money as an artist manager at the time?
Well, at the time, I think that we leveraged what was available and what was the status quo in the industry at the time, which was to put out songs, try to ensure that the songs has that massive resonation, because that was how, and gives you a certain level of visibility on top of mind, and that was how people that were also in the business of events were going to contact for you to play shows and then make some money. Because at that time, if you look at the years, we were still in that transitional phase where digital streaming wasn't a big thing. This is 2011, 2012, 2013, thereabouts, where you could still hear the AAA in a song because it's on a free download site. And on a free download site, served as platforms, served as platforms that could further amplify the songs that you put out beyond radio, And all these international platforms that are today available, while aggregators and everything weren't available at the time. So the way it was release a song, get it across the radios and the television stations, ensure that it gains that massive visibility and popularity, and then ensure that your artist also has a top of mind so you can bank on the shows that comes. And that was the mainstay of the industry at the time.
So the main revenue generator for you at the time was shows.
What shows?
Shows.
Shows, and to some extent endorsement. At the time, the commercial endorsement market hasn't crashed like now. It was still active. And so you could, once in a course, I think we worked with the likes of DKT, we worked with Mary Stopes, also because she had the nursing background, and so there was a fit for Mary Stopes at the time. So these were the two main areas where main revenue lines for us at the time.
Interesting. Okay, so let us bring this conversation into perspective and then try to see if we can draw a very interesting line based on the statistic that was shared by my brother early on. I trust we all saw the statistics, which shows that, look, tourism is a revenue generator for Ghana, like it or yes. In the presentation, it came in fourth, next to cocoa, gold. Now, I don't even know whether to call gold an item of national revenue or an item of national distraction.
National revenue.
It's hard to place it properly.
Well, I think
Because, in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing some work with the Ghana Tourism Authority, and I've had to travel almost across the nation.
Yeah.
And trust me, it is sad.
The good forms of...
You will weep when you see what we are doing to our water bodies. It is painful. So, but let's leave that discussion for another day. Panji, I'll start with you again. And on that, recently we had the Global Citizens Festival celebrated right here in Ghana. Thanks to people like Rudy, Afro Nation was in Ghana when 2019 and is coming back this year.
Yeah.
All the numbers that were shown there had a direct correlation and connect to music in one way or the other.
The arts.
The arts in general.
I would say a lot of it, but Ghana also has quite a bit of cultural tourism. The cultural tourism is connected to music in many ways, but yes, 100% events like Afro Nation, you know, those events, Global Citizen. I met people at Global Citizen who'd come from Ivory Coast, come from Burkina Faso, come from Nigeria. So events like that do draw, and we know from Afro Nation 2019, I think they had almost 8 or 10,000 people who flew into the country specifically for the event. So there are not many things which can drive that many people to go somewhere. Because if I get up and I'm going somewhere, usually it's because of the nature, maybe the beaches, the mountains, you know, nature and landscape, or you are going because of history and religion, or you are going because of culture and, you know, entertainment, or, you know, you are going for the activities. So these are the things that will make me get up from my house and go somewhere. Or funerals. In Ghana, funerals, and I know people have said it and we think it's a joke, but funerals is one of the primary reasons for tourism in Ghana. Me, I call it death tourism. But there are many towns in Ghana I went to for the first time because I am going with a friend of mine and we are going for your father or your mother or your grandmother's funeral. So, and when you go, you are going to stay in a hotel, you are going to eat food, you are going to drink, you are going to consume local goods. So it is tourism. Once you wake up from your house and you go somewhere else and you go and spend money and sleep there, it's tourism.
But the good thing is all these things that you mentioned, all have music in there. I mean, can there ever be a Ghanaian funeral without music?
Impossible.
Not possible. Can there ever be a Ghanaian naming ceremony without music? No. Can there ever be a Ghanaian wedding ceremony, engagement ceremony as we call it, without music? Not possible, is there? So it is, the music is key.
Music is key to everything Ghanaian. You know, there is no shop in Ghana that you go into that when you go inside, or I would say 98% of shops, 98% of petrol stations, 98% of kiosks by the side of the road. Sure. When you go there, there is music going on. You know, so we use music for everything. It's how often do you sit inside the car and the radio is not on? You know, if the radio is working, it is on. So we are people who want to hear music all the time, regardless of what we are doing.
Sadiq, I'm going to go to Rudy. When I come back to you, I would like you to speak to something Uncle White has also spoken about time and again, sponsorship of music platforms. And if we are saying that music has the potential to push up our tourism, revenue, and thereby increase GDP, even bring in more dollars to help rescue the city. Then why is corporate Ghana still not really supporting a lot of music platforms? Rudy, Afro Nation is coming back this year.
Yes.
So, I mean, for you, when you're looking at a program like Afro Nation, are you looking at it just as a business tool, a marketing tool, or a tourism tool?
So it depends on where you're standing. But let's look at it from the country's perspective, right? And from a tourism perspective. The ability to move that mass of people at the same time to a certain destination, which tourism experts call destination tourism, needs an anchor. And that is what music is. So I don't dispute that we have cultural tourism here. Let's not forget, we have 77 forts and castles. How many of them have we all been to? My family house in Cape Coast lives right next to one. I haven't climbed that before. I've never ever had a reason. Okay, they say something did the top. And that's the other thing. Like, there's something there, so you never ventured and nobody is. But I'm saying that the culture part, we are already immersed into it. And it exists. But what draws, or the anchor, or the pool, tends to sit with music. Because the entire December in Ghana, as much as it's a holiday destination, when people come for holidays, they need something. We're not necessarily the most pristine sites to come to. Our beaches are not blue, our seas are not blue seas,
Beaches are not that clean.
They are not that clean. But people forget all of that and forgo other spaces with all of these things and decide that let's put our tourism dollars here. That anchor is music. So if you ask me where it sits in, or how I look at it, I think that's the biggest pull factor. We've put on show for people to travel. The first time I went to the Shire Reserve, and I've driven countless times on that road, never stopped. I see the monkeys, we pass. But Waterland took me up into the space. And it was an amazing experience. It just actually ignited something that, wait, I need to do a little bit more of these things. To kind of see where I live. It's very important because you hear of all these sites and we never really pull it. But as soon as you put music there, I'm sure that day or that period probably is the largest numbers they've seen at a certain point in time. And what made it happen? It was music.
It was music.
So if I'm to place it, it is the one thing that establishes that draw. It's the anchor that pulls in. When you put it down, people respect it and people come. And that's how I see that. And that is why it is how we treat music.
Interesting. If I'm hearing Rudy is in effect saying that the Shire Forest Reserve had been there for decades.
Yes.
Maybe you look at their numbers, about 30 people may visit in a month, 1 per day, arguably. Let's even say 5 per day. But in 2 nights, Waterland delivered how many people? Some 30, 40,000 people to that same location. 2 nights. Because music was a pull. And if we had Panji also mentioned seeing people from Ivory Coast and other places. I know over 50 people who flew in from Nigeria just to see the Global Citizens Festival because I coordinated it for them. Over 50 people, they flew in just to come see Global Citizens Festival. And some of them were in Ghana for the first time. They've heard about us marching on Independence Day. They've heard about all the other festivals. They've heard about everything else, but never bothered to come see. But what pulled them? It was music.
The musical experience.
So, Trick, I mean, you are a musician. Has any sort of music-related tourism ever had to take you off the shores of Ghana to another country?
Yes, so many times. Celebration about 4 times. And then
for the listener, what is celebration?
Okay, so it's a music celebration for Fela.
Nigeria.
The icon, yes, in Nigeria. And then I've also done Cape Town. This year I did Cape Town again. I've done Johannesburg a couple of times. And I've done Tanzania.
So these are these private funded concerts or state funded concerts that you get to attend?
All the other ones are besides the Fela one. No, even the Fela one now they have the state of Lagos.
The state of Lagos supporting it.
Yes, now all the other ones are government funded.
All the other ones are government funded.
Yeah, all the other
and
ones.
they invited you plus other people from across the world to come see it. Yes. And how were the numbers in attendance?
Amazing, especially the Tanzania one. It was crazy. It was so crazy. Like it was the first time I was seeing like an African crowd, like that. You see a lot of Africans, different cultures, different sounds. And for me, it was just a music experiment because I could hear people from Mali, Eastern Africa, Western Africa, and different sounds. And display and exhibition of culture was just
still
beautiful.
Keeping it to Tanzania. Roughly, I mean, can you share with us how much you spent? How many days were you there for?
For 4 days.
Within those 4 days, any idea how much you spent roughly? And what you spent it on?
Well, I think the guys I went with, they like food. No, we wanted to try the new food. I think for 6 people, maybe close to about $2,000.
Dollars.
Yes, for all of us.
Okay, just on food.
Yes, on food and because they also cater.
Yeah.
So it's just personal. You want to eat your own kind of thing and hang out also. Yeah.
And that's just a few of you
Yeah,
in
a
just
few
4
of us.
days.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let us imagine there are over 50,000 people all spending how much? Let's keep it at $2,000.
Wow.
How much is being spent on the Tanzanian economy within those 4 days? So, Sadiq, if we are doing all these, and let's say Wilderland did same, let us say Afro Nation did same, Afrochella is doing same, Global Citizens is doing same, and all that. Why is it that still corporate Ghana does not see the need to sponsor music events?
Well,
No,
well, a
but
number of reasons. I don't think that.
I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so a number of reasons.
Not just corporate Ghana, even the government of
Yeah,
Ghana.
we need to understand that the sponsorship market now has crashed. You know, it's for a long time been the primary patrons or investments
Yes.
for events, but we're gradually getting to that point where we wouldn't have to fully resort to them because globalization and some of the experiences like Afro Nation and everything have raised the bar, and in the ways that it's supposed to be, it's become more expensive to produce the experiences, and corporate Ghana can't fund it because obviously the size of the market is relatively small. If you look at per annum in the last 5 years, they say the size of the market is 300 million cedis, I think, and everybody gets their size, gets it from there. Now, if you're looking at the experiences we're producing year in, year out, it goes beyond what corporate Ghana could afford. Look, Afro Nation, it goes beyond. I think the conservative estimate will be anything around $12 million.
I can never confirm or deny.
I know.
I
I mean,
was
you won't confirm Global Citizen in the ways that it happened on face value. When you look at it, I said it the last time. It won't be anything less than 20 million.
As in
talent,
the organizer for talent.
Yes, dollars.
Oh no, that's way too small.
That's what I'm saying. That it won't be anything less than that.
That is way too
That
small.
particular experience, for it to happen in the ways it happened, corporate Ghana alone can't fund it because it's obviously the size of the market is relatively smaller. And now we're seeing another thing. Regulatory regimes is actually even shrinking it further. So previously where you had the FMCGs, for instance, sponsoring a lot of, or putting a lot of money into some of these activities, regulatory regimes like the FDA and what they are doing, everything continuously whips everybody into line. And because they are having to be very ethical, then now they resort to a lot of experientials and everything. So you won't see them. When was the last time you saw Guinness, beyond Guinness Big Eruption, do a major musical activation? When was the last time?
I can't recall.
So I think
Yeah.
there's a point I want to expand. It's
Yeah.
not even whipping into line. It's more of they're shrinking
Yeah.
the market space because what is a sponsorship relationship? It's a leveraging, it's a trade exchange.
Yeah.
A brand would give you access to money so they can leverage on whatever it is that you're creating because MTN's core was not to do shows.
Yeah.
But for a decade, you saw Boyz II Men because of MTN.
Busta
You
Rhymes.
saw Shaggy because of
Shaggy,
MTN.
yeah.
You saw Busta Rhymes
Busta
because
Rhymes.
Jay-Z,
Jay-Z,
because of
yeah.
MTN. You saw P Square, Trey Songz, because of Vodafone.
Yeah, and then there was another P Square with Close Up.
So the point I'm trying to get at it, there's a trade exchange.
Yeah.
If you shortchange one, I would have to find a different way. Let's not get it twisted. Marketing budgets may have dropped, but it is not zero. And ROIs are real. Like, there is a format or formula to calculate to exactly know how much returns that will come from this
From a certain
relationship.
investment.
So if this investment is not going to yield, brand managers are literally now investment bankers.
Yeah.
They have money and they have to invest in channels and get returns for it. So and there's a part on our side as events people and the space that we also need to kind of confront. Sorry, but the formula has changed.
Yeah.
You cannot prepare a page and say, I'll give you 2 spot, 3 spot, whatnot.
It's
The biggest media purchaser is the brand. He's already bought 5 million CDs worth of airtime on Joy for the year. So when you come and all you're promising
It's
is
3
radio
sports,
advertising, which you are going to beg
Yeah, it's going to be.
Joy FM for. What's the need? Why this paper doesn't pass the front desk?
In fact,
it's in the bin straight.
let's lead you're buying more
It's realistic.
integrations more than the traditional sponsorship. But be it as it may, like
Like,
we just spoke about.
The thing is this, you will see a billboard with 70 logos on. Which one am I picking to give me, for
value.
me to lock in on? And what is coming? So they look at it and say, okay, I don't want to be in the midst of 70 players. I will go to market and I would invest in BTL that will talk one-on-one with the consumer.
Exactly.
Allow me to get data, and I will use it to convert the data, convert the consumer to my side. I think the field has changed. We do need to shift and actually meet them also halfway. Look very closely. They're still the biggest funders of experiences globally, brands. What a brand doesn't do in Ghana, look closely elsewhere in other
doing it
markets.
less.
They're
it in
doing
other markets.
why?
Yeah.
So then the question is more of a challenge in this market, not
Is it a
another-
challenge in the market or an
I don't
issue
think-
of
I
the
don't think-
size of the market?
I think
per
it's the
se?
size of it, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think the experiences or the ideas is lacking. I don't think that the knowledge about where the market has moved to in terms of integrations is also lacking. All of this isn't lacking. The size of the market, first and foremost, is a problem. And then now, obviously, if you look at the experiences, and Rudy spoke about how it's become an exchange. These experiences have become more expensive to produce, and these brands, even if they afford to give you that amount of money, they know they will not be able to convert it immediately. So obviously, there's that particular problem.
But hold
No,
on, gentlemen.
but-
hold on,
but-
hold on.
but
I have a
I'll-
question.
it's
Hold on,
a
hold
small
on,
counterpoint.
hold on. Before the point, I have a question. What is marketing? You speak about investment banking. Investment banking also means projecting into the future and knowing that if I sow the seed today, it's going to yield me this tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're looking at, say, a traumatic experience concept,
Yes.
and you think, it's costing, say, X billion dollars. And Charlie, if I put it in, I'm not going to make my money now. Isn't it an investment into the future?
It is,
Isn't
but-
that, why won't you sit down and calculate the
ideally-
projections?
I
Well,
didn't
no,
taste,
it's not just that. So you're right. The premise you've given is actually what it is. But there's a further point to this. Trade needs to show the brand who his market is. And I will speak, I have a very tense relationship with certain brand managers because I speak my mind on certain things, but let me speak on their behalf. One of the things sometimes we don't do is we don't actually articulate what it is that our benefit is coming, what is it that they are going to. Trade, understand this. The brand that necessarily doesn't need
But really, isn't that supposed to-
20,000. No, I'm coming.
Let Rudy learn.
The brand doesn't need 20,000 people from him per se. But if Trade can show that I'll deliver 500 and the 500 look like this with this attributes and I know them and I can deliver them to you, investment banker makes a projection based on that 500 and say, Trade's 500 is worth X to me in 12 months. It is a game of numbers. And you see, the thing about market size, I think, whilst it's true, but the population size of Ghana is 30 million. It not be small.
It's a huge market.
It is not a small market. And if all of us sitting here have let's not use cities. There's a dollar sign on everybody's head. Every one of us here is worth something a number to a brand.
Yeah.
They are always looking to convert that number. They are always looking to. But the thing that we need to do on our side is to show that knowledge of how that conversion works. Let me turn my attention to my wife who insulted me here, but that's later. Uncle Ibo has an audience, probably one of the most loyal audience ever synthesized by a platform.
Yep.
And I don't need to be there to see it, and I haven't seen a play in a while. But the point is, it's a family audience. It's a family audience. It's probably, when they are coming, it's about 2 to 3 people. It's female-led, 100%. Look very closely. The people that buy into Uncle Ibo's play, it's probably 70 to 80. He has probably one of the highest female audience in gathering. If I'm sitting on the brand side and I look at this, my conversation starts to be different from just me throwing money to him, but how do I convert the people? So you have to come to the table with that synthesis. Because if MTN is able to tell me 70 data points about me sitting here, I have to go to them when I'm going to them with at least 15, knowing that the person who goes to, first off, to go to Wonderland, you are an adventurous person. You must like how to travel because it's an hour and 2 hours away from here. You do not mind the outdoors. So you don't fear critters, you don't fear things. Like, there's a certain attribute. So, but if you took a Wonderland proposal to a brand and said that I'll bring you 10,000 people, and you don't tell me, deep down, you are a mosquito repellent player. I'm going to have 5,000 people that will need it because when they go out, so therefore there's a conversion for you, then you are not doing your job. There's a little bit of knowledge that is needed from our side. And I think corporate Ghana gets the whip. They don't. But at the end, they look on their side too.
But hold on, Rudy. Hold on. Let me bring Trig and Panji into the conversation. And this question could go to any of you. Look, I like where Rudy started from with the investment banker thing. And I also believe strongly that if you are the marketing manager of any organization, that is what you should be. You should be looking out for some of these opportunities. Should you always be the one to wait for a Rudy or a Sadiq or a Trig or a Panji to come to you with a proposal? Look at this analysis he has made beautifully about Uncle White's plays and audiences. And instantly, we can tell a number of brands who should be leveraging on his plays. But are they? No, they are not. Why aren't they? Could it be because, as has been opined by some people in the industry previously, that one, some of them know that even if they go and tell their bosses who are sitting in other countries, they will not even mind them. They don't have it. I can't use the word. But they don't have it to push it. So really, where does that leave us?
Yeah, I think, George, sorry, not to cut you, but I think Rudy is being diplomatic today. Everything he's saying is true and it works, but it works in an environment that the system sort of supports what he's saying. Most of the time now in most companies, the big name is their KPIs, and some are very unrealistic. And so they themselves are under so much pressure, they don't even take the time to want to do the analysis that Rudy is saying, and to know, and like what you are trying to say, for them to go get the demographics of the market and know that this and that, and so it will benefit the brand, which would have been ideal, which would have been good. Often also, to add to what Panji said, we live in a country where we are bonded as a people, whether we like it or not. It's like a big community, but one country. And so oftentimes, people do things based on relationship. And so it goes beyond the technicalities that lie within the markets. But me knowing Sadiq, and Sadiq being my homeboy, or probably a schoolmate, and being somebody I know that has ideas, I would have to be falling on him. And so when his ideas is also slacking, I just look within my circle. And so normally it's not, I mean, Sadiq can have, or there could be a big concept like Wonderland or any other thing, which is amazing, which would have been good for a product that you're a marketing manager for. But you may not have heard about it. And so if it's not within your circle, I think what I've noticed and on the ground, and in being very real to the issue, is that oftentimes you're there and you fall on the people that, and to be fair to them, they fall on the people that are within their reach, you know. And so what you're saying would have been ideal, but I think it hasn't been a culture, and especially when you're working for someone who will probably be waiting for results. And the market is result-driven. And so when we're talking about returns, most often when you look at the KPIs, they want immediate returns. It's true. I mean, I've heard it from a lot of brands.
So that defeats the investment banking.
No, it doesn't defeat it completely, but I'm thinking that some of these discourse or these dialogues is where we can highlight some of the, because I'm sure some brand managers are listening, and so then their minds or their thoughts are drawn to these things, because oftentimes, like, even now that I don't actively, I'm not maybe on stage all the time, I do a bit of marketing. And so I go around in a few meetings, and I still see that culture still happening.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
still
so,
around.
so if we can defeat it, maybe to a little percentage, it would help.
George,
Yeah.
look, I'm saying that, like I started saying earlier, I was building a point. The point is simple. A lot of things have changed and there's a shift.
Yeah.
When you establish a new TV station, you know it's unrealistic for you to immediately, when you start the TV station,
need at least
start
2
getting
years.
Exactly. You need to build.
Hopefully.
So we're gradually getting to the point. That's what I'm saying to you, that things have changed. And also because of the shrinking nature of the market, we are at a point where all of us must be business oriented in terms of how we activate our experiences or bring that to life, in building the idea, spending. The last few years, myself and Rudy, when we talk about events, previously we would be talking about ideas. Lately, every time we're talking Excel sheets.
Yeah.
Excel sheets and finding
Yeah.
the money
Yeah.
and doing the projections and everything. And so now more than ever, if we recognize that we do not have to wait for the corporate community, and we can find ways and means in raising capital to establish the experience, they will come. Look, we're actually 2 days, same brands market, 2 days before Afro Nation last year, we had traditional banks who ordinarily would not actually make any investment, running and saying they would want to put a certain level of investment. Why? Because you've already done the investment and created the vehicle and created that a value that they see. So even where you do not even try as much to convince them, they would have seen it. So I'm bringing our minds to something that the market has totally changed. Don't look to them, because even environmental factors is actually making it even harder. So don't look to them. If we looked in December, what has made December work all over the years is that almost everybody I've known from the late 2000s, when December started to evolve, everybody had to put some capital down to create the experience. From Aquaba, speak to Afrochella,
Yes.
speak to Afro Nation, speak to Wilderland. Wilderland last year ran without a sponsor. And everybody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it, because we recognize that we didn't have to wait. What? You would wait for the brand amalgamation of brands to give you what? More than $2 or $3 million in this market. It will not work. And that's why if you realize, once you create the experiences, the biggest sponsors in December lately has not been local brands. Check. Facebook, YouTube, all of them. Small experiences, they give you $300,000, $400,000. No brand here will give you that. It's not about even putting and showing them the value. What value haven't we shown to them? You can show them the value, show them the conversion, show them everything. If it's not realistic, whether there are 30 million people in the country or not, whatever marketing budget the board will approve for the organization with the year will be relative to their target. And the budget will be relative to their target. So where they get 35% budget cut in a year because economic factors in the year has been very difficult for them, you definitely wouldn't want them to give you the entire money for the experience, because now the globalization has changed it. Afro Nation has showed the way. The market itself, last week there was an event everybody was talking about, and they're comparing it to Global Citizen. That's one of those things. They've activated a taste in the audience that are here. They are expecting that. It's expensive. The corporate community, it's changed. You're not going to get that if you want to operate in the ways that you've got to now. Our mindset needs to change. Business, just like you would, when you want to create the radio and TV station, what do? Once you have the idea, you go into the numbers, you do your projections, and you go out there to find your money. It's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not walk in the park. It's difficult getting the money. It's actually even difficult getting investors that would probably be patient to say, I'm going to give in this for 2, 3, 4 year period for us to actually invest it and ensure that we build value so that by a certain time we begin to break even and go on. But we are gradually getting to that point where because that is how December has happened, not the states, not the corporate community. The December you talk about, that is how it happened.
Very, very interesting
So-
thoughts there.
so-
Let me quickly go to point
The
B
model
before.
has changed.
The
That's-
model, you believe that model has changed?
I-
Hold on.
100%.
Before you come to the model, you'd have the last word on this one. Look, I am an event planner, and I'm already thinking of how I can execute my event without sponsors. Panji, is that where we should start looking? Is that even possible, especially in a space where you don't even have the venues?
Well, I think I started a festival which was dependent on sponsors. 2014, when every sponsor put their money in Ghana going to the World Cup, I realized I had to change my model. Because after 5, I think we did 6 years, but you realize that after 6 years, even though you feel you've made progress, we are building the brand, we are doing this, you are dependent on somebody. You know, so I agree with what Rudy said. The model has changed. We need to find ways of getting to the same destination with a different financial model. Because sponsorship is not, you know, Shaggy is that kind of thing. I don't think is going to.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yes, that era is over, and the brands who are competing for market share, they have finished sharing the market.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are they?
How am I spending my money?
What are they spending money for? You know, so it's we do. Life there is about adapting constantly. The conditions of yesterday, they are not here today. How do we survive? We can't go back to tomorrow. We don't know where. We can't go back to yesterday. Sorry, we don't know exactly where tomorrow is, but we can just try and head towards where we think it will be. So, at any given point in time, Rudy has ideas. Abu has ideas of where it's going to be. They've started moving there already. They are not waiting for it to get there before they start moving in that direction. Because we have to predict, Charlie is going like this, so where are we going? So we have to change direction. I do agree with one thing that Rudy said, which is that if I am coming to collect money from you, the onus is on me to show you that it is worthwhile.
It's going to give you the return
Yes,
that you require.
I have done huge amounts of research and development for somebody's brand simply because I'm trying to convince them. And at the end of the day, I think as event organizers, it is part of our job. If I come to you and you are going to give me 300,000 in sponsorship, Charlie, any consultancy and any development, any research I can do for your company that will make you realize, hey, Charlie, then when I know they here, this, that. If I can do it, I will do it because I want that 300,000. I may not get it next year because I've told them everything this year. But if the relationship is good and they get the results from the event and they can see, okay, whatever the KPIs are, okay, we achieved this, it was a good relationship, then it continues.
Interesting.
So sponsorship, dear, it's
changed.
Yes, there are times when a sponsor will come to you and say, listen, we want a piece of this, your event. But you have to, by the time the sponsors come to you saying we want to sponsor your event, you don't actually need them so much anymore.
Yeah.
It's the struggle stages when you are chasing them, you really need them. When they come chasing you, you don't, it's like you are, you have passed that point. Takashi is over.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
let me get back to, Rudy, you wanted to.
I want to say that there's a few things I want to hear in the marketplace. And one of the things I want to hear is responsibility. Experienced curators need to understand that they are responsible for for what they do. It is your business. You want that money, you have to show value for it. That's one. Two, there's a mentality that we used to have, which is sponsorship is our uncle. You know, I've had some of these things so far. I could see like 10,000 miles away where somebody comes, so I know this artist is my uncle's friend, you know. I said, how are we going to pay for it? Then we'll get sponsorship. I said, who's that guy? Because I need to meet him. So, sponsorship from where? Then they start to give you the usual names. The usual names, which the CMOs and marketing directors, you have weekly sit-downs with, and they are telling you they are wahala, and that's not your uncle. The sponsorship has a responsibility to bring returns to the table.
Yeah.
And there's also a stage of growth where like they've passed. If the Yellow Boys own 90% of the marketplace, why are they struggling to get the 10% that you don't have? Because they've already cornered the market and they know all of us sitting here, we are worth $2,000, $3,000 per annum to MTN. And they already have you in pocket. You buy. So why? What am I?
Why again do they need?
But unless you come to the table with a new channel of growth, unless you come to a place where you think that, wait, we are weak here, I can help you plug this hole here. You will, if you do that, you will find them. That old mentality is still there. But at the end of the day, it's down to brass tacks. What's my return? Yes, I know they say KPIs, and we all thought sometimes they're just speaking. No, there should be something tangible that comes out of it. Now, let's look forward to what it is. You know, the research that was given, and the one that's
Yeah.
on the board right now,
Yeah.
we have 1.1 million international arrivals in Ghana in 2019. Please let that sink in. What's the population of Accra? Rough
Accra is
numbers
about
we
5,
hear.
6 million.
Yeah, but then residential, like in the environs of Accra, is probably half of that. 3 million or so people pour, 50% pour into the city and go out every year because they live far. So which means that a third of the population of Accra fly thousands of miles into this country for something. That's the market. The contributory receipts is 3.3 billion. And I know 2020 when they put out the numbers, the first thing we heard, a lot of people were like, they are lying, 3 billion. Well, put it this way. 9,870 people flew into Ghana for Afro Nation. How do I know? They bought a ticket.
Yeah.
We could see where they're coming from. And they flew because we didn't buy them a ticket.
Yeah.
And they came because we accredited them and we saw it. Okay. Those 9,000 people, calculate an average plane ticket, cost of flight.
Airline, yeah.
Average stay for a 4-day festival will be 7 days. Why? Because 1 day travel, 2 days of travel, 1 day in, 4 days of Yankonkwa. That's 7 days of stay in your country. So look at an average hotel price around that time and do the math. Then when you are in market, the purchasing power, you will take a taxi, you will buy booze, you buy legal things, and then you buy illegal things. All of them is part of the economy. Please.
And there's a spillover effect on other events.
On
and
other
experiences as well.
events. So calculate that. I mean, I can't tell you our market. And we did a market impact analysis post 2019. When I saw the internal for one event for December for a small period and I saw the numbers, these numbers, I probably think they were very conservative on certain things.
It could have been more.
It could have been way more.
All right. In a bit, we'll have a conversation with the legendary James Ebo White. He's going to be talking to us about the future, what the future holds for the Ghanaian creative. He's one of our keynote speakers for the afternoon. He's here. We've also got possibly incoming musical president, Ras Apia Levi. Or Alai? Yeah, man. Daddy Bosco is also with us. My brother from Charterhouse, Mr. Robert Clare, is in the building with us, Rob. And then, of course, also my brother from 3 Network. Yes, and TV3. Yeah, Media General, sorry. Yes, my brother Caleb Newboy is also in the building. Plus, we've got the entire industry. I see Adam in the background and a lot more people. The conversation goes on. Before we get into Uncle Ebo White's part of the conversation, I want to ask this panel that I have here. Look, when Rex was speaking, there was one thing that kept ringing in my head. Contract, contract, contract.
How did we end this?
Trig, what is the importance of contract to a musician?
Everything. If you want to do business, unless you just want to sing for yourself, even with that, it's everything. It's actually the paint for the relationship you have with all other business partners. That is your publisher. If you have a record label, your record label. If you have a manager, your manager. It's the very basic thing that spells out the interest of the label. You yourself, you accepting the deal, what is in for you. It is the thing that either empowers you or takes your power away from you. It is the very center. It is the core tool to every artist's life and career. It's a determinant for whether you are going to last forever or you are going to stay for a while. It can sometimes determine whether you are going to be wealthy or poor. So a contract, just one contract or one signature on a contract can change a musician's life.
Sadiq, let me bring it into our event and speak, because at least we've been able to establish at this table that one of the key connects between the music business and tourism is eventing. And there are records to show.
In fact, experiences literally.
The experiences, yes, experiences. That is the right word. And it's not just about all these large concerts. It's even in theater as well, because music is a part of the entire theater experience. So it is key. When musicians walk away from predetermined contracts, which you have experienced before. You've engaged musicians to perform at events A, B, C, D, and for whatever reason,
There's a breach.
they walk away. What is the effect first on the musician himself and you, the event planner, plus the event and the contracts that you also have with your audiences?
Well, a lot of things. But before that, I mean, there's something that we need to understand. And yesterday, when I was at the Gimpa Law School, we made that clear that the business or the creative business, it starts and ends with a contract, with the law. And often when we speak about the lack of structures in the industry, essentially what we mean as well is the existence of laws, the legal regimes, or the regulatory frameworks that shapes industry, and obviously the well-run business units of industry. So it's very important for everybody to abide by it, to talent and to us. I mean, breaches do happen, and that's why in every contract, often we anticipate breaches, and when it happens, what we do. As events people or people that also create the experiences, we've had instances where there's been breaches on our side, and there's what we did to, mitigate whatever issues they may come. For the talent as well, I mean, there is that the negative impact could affect anybody else depending on how you do it. We need to be very truthful. In the last 1 year, look, I know it's been spoken about, but the main reason, if you speak to a lot of the people that were involved in Global Citizen, for instance, related to a particular talent that was not booked, speak to them behind doors. They'll tell you it was because of a certain behavior they saw. It's the truth. Nobody has really been able to say it publicly. It's been discussed in the back rooms and everything. It's that. In December, you can ask a lot of the people creating the experiences. We know, we talk among each other, like, about why don't you want to have this person and all of that? They point to a certain particular impact. Because we are gradually getting to the point where nobody has time again to babysit or to tolerate certain things. Nobody has time. And like I said, December has changed. And I keep telling to a lot of, December is like a different destiny altogether. And so and it's shaping the minds of, nobody has time for a lot of these things anymore. People will move. And particularly where we are seeing a situation where every December we're putting in almost $3 million in, for instance, Nigeria, to book Nigerian talent because of the value they represent to you. It's changed. Nobody has time anymore. So the impact that you could have is that you would have a situation where the things are happening, and the things are happening without you as a talent, because you've gained a reputation as somebody that would walk out from this, somebody that would act unruly, or somebody that would breach and all of that, because nobody has that time. Again, even for the person involved in the event, obviously, if you also gain that particular reputation, there are intended, consequences that could affect you, particularly if you do not do anything to mitigate it. It happens.
Interesting. Panji, contracts to musicians. You have managed many, and yourself, you're also a musician. So,
well, I think before two people can work together, you have to agree how you are going to work.
Yes.
So for me, a contract is simply writing down what we have agreed. And then you sign that, yes, this is what you agreed. And I sign, yes, this is what I agreed. There are many times when I can do a contract with somebody. We just write it on a piece of paper. We are going to collect 5,000. When the 5,000 comes, 3,000 is your share, 2,000 is my share. Please, let's just sign here, right? You have one copy of it, I have one copy of it. Now, when the 5,000 comes, you can't tell me that, oh, I thought 4-5 is for me. No, because we had this discussion and we agreed and we wrote it down. And so for me, a contract is important because it is a reminder that before the money came, this is what we agreed. Sometimes after the money comes, I don't know whether it is selective memory, but the person who the money lands in their hand, you will see that now they think, hey, why should I share this with anybody?
Yeah.
So contracts are the agreements that says when the money comes, this is how we are going to share it. So I think they are very, very important. There is also the fact that under British law, a contract is a handshake. So you and I can agree we are going to share this 50-50. We shake hands.
Shake hands on it.
Yes.
That's it.
There is no written contract.
Gentleman's agreement.
It's a gentleman's agreement. And we use the British legal system. So for me, anytime you are going to work with somebody, sit down and have a discussion. We are going to try and do this. It's going to cost this. I'm going to contribute this. You are going to contribute this. When the money comes, you remove your contribution. I remove my contribution. What is left, we are going to share it in this ratio. Once you do that, it makes it easier to continue working with people. Because when the money came, you shared it as you agreed. You didn't cheat me, I didn't cheat you. This is what we agreed, how we were going to share it. So I think that those contracts are very, very important. But agreements are even more important than the contract, because you and I must agree that this is what we are going to do. I'm happy with it, you are happy with it. Then we can write it down on a piece of paper. But it's, yes, so it's really, a contract is just writing down what we have agreed we are going to do with each other.
But it doesn't seem like something we take very seriously in our space, does it?
Okay. So,
yeah.
That I was coming to that. We confuse bad behavior with something being wrong with the contract. There's nothing wrong with contracting. It's, just call it out, it's bad behavior. So we've got a commercial contract, you've got a social contract, you've got a personal. We have a social contract with the government that you will take our votes, you will go into power, and you will implement projects that you told us you would do. It's a social contract. It's binding.
Yeah.
That's why the people can rise up and say, you're doing bad, we're going to change that contract. And the process with which we both agreed to do that was to go to a ballot.
Are you trying to say something?
What I'm saying is,
He's winning the point. Don't cry.
But again, bad behavior is something that I can't, because some of the best deals I've done, we shook hands,
Just a handshake.
went away, and both of us were on our best behavior, and we walked it through. And then there's the 60-page one that we signed that the agreement was never there, and you could see at the point of signing that these breaches are going to come. And sometimes people are intentional about that they literally will write it down so they can breach it with remedies that they've built in. It's just, let's accept that about, the human spirit, the human behavior. It's the human experience is fraught with that. It's not that we don't respect it. It's not that we don't. It's not that it is contracts are bad. You see a talent, you want to put a contract down to sign. The first thing they do is start to, if you want to have breaches, then let's just have a conversation right now and know how far we are going to travel.
Yeah.
If it's not going to work, both of us will. But because the world is also fraught with stories where people literally just shook hands and they built empires out of just shaking hands. And it's also been where people were given literally a pot of gold. They wrote a paper down and they just all left.
And they still chop the money.
And they still chop the money. So I think we get incensed with those things. I think we should just understand it will happen. And by nature of a contract, one of the most colorful things about lawyers and contracts and it was a Nigerian deal I was doing. I never got paid for it. And they described it as, really, we are bringing in lawyers because to us they are loss prevention centers. That's how they describe the lawyers. Says we want to prevent losses, so let's just put the lawyers in to make sure they put in mechanisms that we both will not suffer too much losses. Should it become like that? It didn't make them terrible or bad. No, it was just ensuring that there's an enforceability or enforcement part of whatever we've agreed on. We went on to do part of the deal, another part we didn't. But at the end of the day, yes, the losses were minimized because as soon as it got to a certain point where it couldn't, mechanisms kicked in. And everybody, we went our separate ways. But we live to do business another day.
I brought in this conversation about contracts because if we're looking at developing music and tourism potentials, we also need to look at some of the things that could take us back, some of the things that could draw us back, some of the setbacks, and contracts is always one of them.
I mean, it's not contracts, it's behavior. Like
behaviors, like you said.
You know, it's Sadiq and I can sign an agreement. It's watertight. And then I just fail. And like Rudy rightly said, we see it every day in government institutions, and we see it in government that, yes, it is a contract. When you vote, it's a contract between you and the leader.
Yeah.
And if the leader doesn't do what they said they will do, what means for, how do we go back and solve the problem? So if there is an issue, maybe it should be, how do we enforce lack of responsibility and lack of accountability? And it is a national issue. A policeman sees somebody doing something. Instead of holding him accountable, he takes 5 cedis. He says, okay, you go. Accountability and responsibility. It's not that he has a contract with the government of Ghana to arrest the person he sees doing the wrong thing. But he has replaced that with 5 cedis or 10 cedi in my pocket. It's more important than my contract with the government and the people of Ghana. So it's not that he doesn't have an employment letter. It's not that he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. But he has chosen not to abide by his contract with the people of Ghana because nobody will hold him accountable. He himself doesn't feel responsible. So accountability, responsibility, and doing what we would like somebody else to do to us is what will make any business, any venture, any partnership between individuals move forward. It's not the contract per se. It is the mindset.
Right. Solid. We've spoken a lot. We've spoken, one very important point that's been made here is about the point of corporate Ghana's contribution. But we're at a point where it's a conversation we should have had a long time ago. We all seem to run away from government contribution into the arts.
Well, let me say one thing. Do you know?
But let me land.
No, when you say government contribution into the arts.
Yes.
There are countries like France where they spend more money on the arts than they spend on healthcare. They spend more money on the arts than they spend on military spending. They spend more money on the arts than they spend on education. So when we talk about government spending, when it comes to Africa, arts, entertainment, culture is always below even
everything else.
Even ex gratia. It falls below, it's below ex gratia.
Like,
Obviously, if you stratified the payment, the funds that goes into paying ex gratia, it's actually bigger.
So what I'm saying is, yes, our governments need to understand that when you discover a 5,000-year-old civilization, what do you find? You find artifacts.
culture.
It's art and culture. So the only thing that people remember when they have an experience is the art and the culture. You don't remember anything else. So
even the very essence of the country or the statehood is art.
The essence of the country is your creative industry. If I say Jamaica, what do you think of? Reggae. Jamaica is smaller than Accra, but they've exported their music all around the whole world. How many people go to Jamaica every year? How many Ghanaians want to go to? I want to go and see there. What are you going to do there? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to see. It's the power of music. So reggae has made Jamaica into a tourism destination.
Hollywood has sold America to us.
So I think government needs to invest a greater percentage of the GDP into developing the arts, yes. So it's not how much money are they spending. The percentage is too small.
Too small.
For me, my biggest pain, and at this point, I don't want to be a presenter. I want to be a panel member. My biggest pain is our investment in our creative spaces. The National Theatre is literally crying for renovations. The building is crying. When you look at the building, when you enter the building, you can feel the building crying, begging for help. When you go to the School of Performing Arts, University of Ghana, 2022, your kid brothers, your children, are friends, are students. And the School of Performing Arts, once upon a time, was the only institution that attracted the most foreign exchange for the entire university. Because a lot of foreign students came there. No, the narrative is changing.
Dondology.
Because there's no course called odontology. Because they know that when they come, the facilities are just not there. Now what they do is, instead of letting their students come, they are poaching the graduates to come and lecture there.
That's it.
So they are not coming anymore.
So the country is losing out.
Yes, I have
And
a
the
lot of
universities is also
people,
losing
a
out
lot of people
eventually.
that I graduated with who are now lecturing in universities across the United States of America. They are just teaching people how to dance. And tons of people came to learn how to dance. But 2022, the IFWA Sutherland Drama Studio that was built over 60 years ago is still the same drama studio that they are using. When the weather changes, they cannot rehearse, they cannot perform. When it's hot and sunny, they cannot rehearse, they cannot do anything. That structure is dead, it is useless. Now, some 20-something years ago, they started putting up a new auditorium for the School of Performing Arts. Now, it's been 20-something years. That auditorium has been abandoned. Within the same period, science departments, law faculties, math, other departments also started putting up new structures. These structures have been finished and other newer structures have been put up. But the one at the School of Performing Arts is still dead, abandoned. When you go to the National Film and Television Institutes, there is a state-of-the-art facility that was being put up from the days of Nkrumah here. It's been abandoned, it's still abandoned till date. Let us not talk about the State House Banquet Hall. Let us not talk about the state of the
Independence Square.
not even that. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone would even say conference
Yes.
center is not even for us. It belongs to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But
Receiving investments.
which people patronize it the most? You understand? So if event planners today are crying, are yearning, they are begging for space. December, Mr. Robert Clark's auditorium, the Grand Arena, is going to be dead busy. Dead busy. So busy, a lot of
they'll be in
people will not
brisk
even get to be
business.
able to book it because it is the only one left. Uncle Ibu White will be doing Festival of Plays, and I'm sure he'll be limited as to the number of plays he will be able to stage because the venue is just not available. So, and these are low-hanging fruits. It is good. Government would put some money back into the pockets of creatives, COVID support, this, that. But how long ago were we promised auditoriums and stuff? And these are low-hanging fruits that we believe can be plugged. So for me,
George,
yes.
there are a few things we need to understand. Now, even though the research analyst said that we are fourth, I think from a speech by the president, he said that we're third. And there's by 2025, we should be number one.
Yeah.
Contributor to the GDP. Obviously knowing, the power it holds and all of those things. In December alone, it's projected that 250,000 people come into the country, and they bring in a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Right? Now, we're getting to the point where the states must understand that without this adequate investment in the space, these things that it's often touted, right, as gains, number 3, number 4, we are West Africa's number 1 destination, whatever.
Slogan,
We are
yeah.
about losing it. Look, we may lose it if we do not take it serious. Because in the ways it works, other countries are actually making overtures to some of these experiences that are happening in your country. The day Nigeria wakes up, mind you, Nigeria has also been trying to position themselves as a December destination of the world gradually.
Yep.
They've started activating things.
Yeah.
Look, if in December, one day you wake up without adequate investment and Afro Nation is gone, Wadaland is gone, Afrochella is gone to these countries.
We will be
and
going
the
to Nigeria
parties-
for Xmas.
And the parties are going to these countries. What's going to happen is that Ghanaians and the diaspora community are going to go to Nigeria for Christmas. Do you
We
know what
too,
that
we
means?
will- we
You've lost
ourselves
out.
will
We ourselves will go to.
Yes, you've lost out on it.
And that's a lot of
And,
revenue.
and I'm telling you now, it is happening. They are making overtures. These countries, after Wadaland last year in December, we got an invitation to Tanzania this year. Afro Nation in Portugal, for instance, was done at the behest of the states, right, Udi?
Yeah.
In Portugal. Afro Nation has started moving around. They are going to be in South Africa this weekend. I know they activated Cote d'Ivoire, Afrochella, sorry. Right? Now, if any of these countries, and I've seen how Rwanda is gradually talking to people and players in the industry, one day Rwanda will just stand up and just enable all these experiences, and then you lost out. You wake up to realize that your positioning as a holiday maker sport in December, for instance, is gone because the state never took it seriously. They never took the fact that this is the value that's coming to the country almost every year due to these activations and experiences, enough to also put in an appropriate or was a proportionate investment to the space. Where is the investment?
We are
may
taking
lose
it for granted, but I'd
We're
like to
taking
say
it for
one
granted. We
thing.
may lose it.
Look, when Rwanda had when they had Rwanda on Arsenal football, that means everybody maybe not everybody in Ghana watches Arsenal, but everybody in Ghana watches English Premier League. So Rwanda, how much do you think it cost Rwanda?
Oh, an arm, a leg, and a knee.
Yes. So is that a waste of money?
No, it's not.
Or is that brand building?
No.
Everybody in Ghana, when we talk about good governance or a country which is doing well, Rwanda is the name that we mention all the time. Everything, Charlie, like Rwanda, they no go do so. Hey, can't you see what Rwanda? They are a small country with a smaller population. What natural resources do they have? But look at what they are doing.
Nowhere close.
But
And
in all honesty,
look,
if
already
the
in
government
December-
of Ghana dared went to put visit Ghana on Chelsea jersey, please let's move forward.
Already in December.
Yes.
This is
First, we
also-
should do it on Accra Great.
That's where we'll start
But
from.
George, this is where again we must be intentional about
you.
the
Yeah,
steps
exactly.
that we take.
Thank you.
There's a little bit of let me tell you from outside, right? And whenever I'm out of Ghana, here's how I see Ghana. You know that supple, young, beautiful girl in her prime, everything shaped nice, who thinks that nothing will ever fall out? And when he sees an older woman, sneers at her like, oh, Mirwana Mufrikwem, young girl, but that's how we are. But the thing is this, everybody will have their time in the sun. And some people are now even much more intentional about these steps.
Thank you.
See, we're blessed.
And everybody's looking at us and thinking,
And the thing is the
we
model.
are taking it for granted. We don't even value
And they're taking the template.
Let me give you a
Yes,
little
they are
back
learning
here.
from us.
Okay, hold on,
Okay.
hold on. You are taking us to the right place where we should bring in Uncle Boy.
Yes.
The future for the Ghanaian.
Now, what are we
creator.
doing?
And let me round up.
Yes,
my,
round
my,
up so
my
that-
quick
yes.
my quick point. At the back of Global Citizen, whilst it was happening, and I was not even here, there was a massive delegation from one of the countries that was just here observing everything. Process, production, they saw it all. They've taken it in. Why? Because they're intentional about the steps they take. We were a hot chick, so everybody wants to be with Ghana. But a hot chick never stays hot forever.
Yep.
Yeah,
Solid.
there's coming a time where it will drop.
Yep.
And this is where, and I asked that we put this one, it's something that, and the other thing is I also want to turn my guns on all of us, the practitioners. You made a beautiful summary on all the infrastructure that is. Please understand this, government is an enabler.
Exactly.
If they don't understand, then we need to make government
you.
understand.
Thank you.
Without mentioning names, there was some big corporation that was looking to a big showpiece project, 2021, 2022, yes. And one of the things was, should we build a massive arena and do name rights? The National Theatre is falling apart.
Yeah.
I am quite sure, and this is where it comes in about knowing what it is, because if the National Theatre can actually give me the stats for the last 3 years, footfalls, what is gained, you will probably discover that they get more people walking in there than some of the malls. And yet they don't sell anything. It's not a retail center. And people sit there, and the number of hours they spend there is higher than when you go to the malls. So maybe that could be worth something to a bank that says that, okay, I'm going to underwrite this project. You're going to build it, and I have naming rights for 30 years. We've seen it happen here. Stanbic Heights was not built by Stanbic. It was financed by Stanbic. A project was created. They went there. They had a conversation, and Stanbic says, okay, we'll put up the financing. Part of the financing, naming rights, automatically comes to us. They don't own the building.
Yes.
They finance the building. It's a whole project. They're paying off. It is possible But we need to start being intentional about some of these things. The university, the one thing every retail brand ever, and if you run an agency before, campus invasion, let's go. Why? Because there's 50,000 people you put in a certain space that stay there for 90 days at a time, and they have really nothing to do. And the top of mind awareness you reach, how much money do brands put into marketing to students? You can't tell me that we have to be intentional about it.
Solid point there from my man, Rudy Quaye. If you just tuned in, you're live on Joy 99.7 FM and, of course, on Joy Prime Television as well. You're also online at myjoyonline.com. We're also on Twitter Spaces, everywhere digital. It's hashtag Showbiz Roundtable. We've got the very finest in the industry right here. Special thanks to Labadi Beach Hotel for hosting us. Not forgetting Ghana's most reliable mobile telecommunications network, that's MTN. What are you doing today? And, of course, High Five Chokomod from Casapreco Company Limited. It is time to hear my father speak. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the man who has redefined theater in GH and continues to pave the way for many of us to follow. Uncle
affectionately
James.
called Uncle Ibo, is a playwright, author, and motivational speaker. He is the artistic director and lead writer at Roverman Productions and has written and directed 50 plays for stage since 2008. He is a social commentator and has for many years consistently presented on his bi-weekly program dubbed Food for Thought on Joy FM.
Well, thank you very much, George. And George, you don't ask a Ghanaian how much he spent on a foreign trip. Don't. Trick, don't mind him. No, you don't. Because we don't spend anything, you know. Walk into any place. Where you're saying it's $3. $3 square day.
A quick calculation,
You know, so maybe numusio $5. $5 you're saying. What calculate it? You mean maybe spend 600 cities? I don't know. Well, I'd like to thank Joy FM entertainment platform and Joy Entertainment.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Thank you.
May this be the beginning of a long and intentional.
Exactly.
That's a word I learned from you people. Intentional conversation here. It's been wonderful meeting seeing some of these big guys. George, always good to see you.
Yes,
there's a guy who has been a vagabond. He has a white beard sitting there. His hair stopped growing, and then his beard started growing. Vagabond. Bosco, it's good to see you.
yes, man.
I haven't seen you in a long time, and for all of you, a very good evening to you. I wrote and produced my first play in 1974.
Wow.
And so I have been in the creative space for that long, since that time. Now, I've also been in other areas. My generation, nobody thought of a full-time in the creative space. You were a musician, you had a job. In fact, even in sports, you were a footballer, you had a job. You were an actor, you had a job. This was something we did as part-time. I've seen that evolve. I've seen the times change. But within that period, I worked with a company that had its principals in Germany. And the German who was responsible for Africa and Middle East would make an annual tour of the territory that he was responsible for. And he would come to Ghana and spend 3 days. 3 days being arrival one evening, a full day with us in the office. The next day, he's waiting for his flight to go. And he could get very, very impatient with his wanting to leave. Then we go to a conference and discovered that our colleague from South Africa was telling us that this same man who comes to Ghana and cannot wait to get into a plane and fly out goes to South Africa and spends 1.5 weeks there. Now, we looked at the numbers. Our numbers were not that bad. It was compared to South Africa. It is not as if you could say that, oh, he's doing a lot of business in South Africa, so it's understand. So we asked the young man, tell us something. What happens? Then he asked us, when this guy comes to you, what do you do for him? So, well, we get him the best hotel. There's a car at his beck and call. He said, no. He works hard the whole year. When he comes to Africa, he wants a place to relax. He wants fun. So where do you take him? And our answer was that nowhere to take him. No, really. If you hosted somebody from abroad who does not drink, where are you going to take him? If the person drinks, there are lots of drinking spots.
Plenty.
But if the person doesn't drink, where are you taking him? Our hotels are full. The flights coming to the country are full. And then we welcome the people, take them to the hotel, leave them there. Then come for them the next day. Take them to the office. Then at about 4:30, bring them back and leave them there for the next day. Our man was not interested in Ghana because we didn't have anything to offer him. And I have seen this figure, that the data they gave, the contribution of creative sector to the economy and all that. And I'm here to tell anybody that stop believing. That is what is. That is what is, because we are not interested in growing anything in this country. But I can tell anyone who cares to listen that nothing will compare with the creative sector if we are given the right attention. Yeah. Nothing. No sector, not cocoa, not gold, not oil, nothing.
That's it.
Nothing. At any rate, we have already heard of rejection.
Yep.
Of our cocoa.
Because it's contaminated.
Gold, what's gold doing to our environment? You said you went around and you almost cried. I know that last thing that made you cry, it had to be a woman, but... One of my mentees, who is based in the UK, came down with his friends, and he did well. He mobilized about 8 of his colleagues he works with the British Airways, and got all of them to take their leave at about the same time and said, I'm going to show you my country. We have things here. So they all came. And they decided we're going to go to the Boti Falls. So got a good car, drove all the way to Boti Falls, got there, saw the falls and things like that, and said, okay, now we can go. Let's get into the car. And say, oh, hang on. What's wrong with you people? You mean we made all this trip just to see this and go back? They told him, if we had this thing where I come from, there's no way you will spend less than 2 hours here. We would make sure you spend not less than 2 hours here. We have come here, and there wasn't even an eating space, a place they could buy food. So they had to drive to another town to buy food. It's not going to happen. Is that the amusement parks, merchandise shops, and things like that? Is that 2 hours? You haven't finished seeing what we want you to see, so you spend more money here. It hasn't happened. But I am one of those people who is very optimistic about Ghana. Very optimistic about Ghana, because I've seen Ghana over the years. And I can see this is a nation that can only get better. Ghana is young. There are people who say that, oh, after 60 years, I'm older than Ghana. That's the truth. In terms, when the Queen died, there were buildings, they were given the history of some of the chapels they took her. And this is a 3,000-year-old building and that kind of thing. How old is the EPL? EPL is hundreds of years. Ghana, our oldest team is House of Folk. House of Folk is how old? It's at 121 something. The point I'm making is that Ghana is a very young country. In terms, 60 years in the life of a country is a very young country. And so when you compare it with, I think, is it Panji who talked about a 5,000-year-old civilization and things like that. When you compare Ghana with some of those countries, then Ghana is in nation terms, Ghana is a teenager. And we exhibit all the characteristics of teenagers. We are not neat. Teenagers won't clean their room. We are not neat. We think we know, so we are too known. We are lazy. We'd rather sleep and have fun than anything else. We don't want to do the work of the mind. And that is Ghana for you. That is Ghana for you. George, you know that even if we take the EPL has become a cash cow only in the last few years. No, in the last year, it wasn't that way. Some people got in there and decided, you know something, we can make something out of that. And I believe it is time we did that in Ghana. I am not too confident that any government would do this for us. Because the experience we've had, and this is a 68-year-old man speaking, so I'm not talking about just current affairs. I am saying that what I have found over the years is that we have not been blessed with leaders who care about Ghana. We've been cursed with leaders who look at their pockets first, what am I going to get out of this? And so some of the discussions we are having, and even if we give them all the data, it won't mean anything to them. And that is sad. And it is sad because that's the way it is. I am suspicious of anyone who spends more to get a job for which he will be paid less than what he's put in. Rudy, you would know that to get to Parliament, for instance, you would spend so much that if all you are coming in for is your salary and even the ex gratia, it will come nowhere near what you invested in it. And yet, people are prepared to die for it. Meaning that we are not coming because of what you think we are coming. We have seen something that maybe we cannot tell you about, but it's there and we're coming to. The point I'm making is that we cannot talk about the creative sector in a vacuum. It will have to be in the total Ghanaian context. Otherwise, we can do our homework. One policy from government can kill everything. That, like the lockdown did to most of us, killed our businesses just like that. So let those who would hear. I still believe that there will be a day when we would live to thank someone who comes to power and calls the creative sector and say, I am going to help you to grow, because I know that will be my legacy, and it will be the legacy that transforms Ghana from a country that just sends raw materials and that damages its ecosystem just to satisfy the pockets of a few people. We're going to transform Ghana. The government, our national leadership would have to do that. Someday, I'm sure we'll celebrate that happening. But whilst that happens, whilst that we are praying for that and working for that and advocating for that, we would also have to speak to the artist. They say that whilst you are advising the cat to stay away from the money, you also have to advise the money.
Do not spell too much.
So, I'm going to make two statements to the artists in Ghana. The first is this. When the artist becomes a businessman, three things happen. One, the business dies, or the artist dies, or both die. What makes us an artist will not make us good businessmen. So I like Panji talking about, and Panji, you put it in a beautiful term that it's a communal thing. So we don't start, but it is not just that, Panji. It is just that the personality out of which an artist evolves is not a greedy one. It's not the material one. He must survive, but that is not what concerns him. That would have to be done by somebody who understands that this guy will need a kind of support. I am not an artist. I may never be able to put out a song or write a play, but I've seen George. George, I am going to help you to survive and thrive. And he brings his business mind, his connections, his network to helping that grow. That infrastructure is not there in Ghana. It's not there in Ghana. The few who have attempted it have been bent badly. Because when you were talking about the contrast, I was laughing. There could be contrast. The Ghanaian, you sit down and negotiate with the Ghanaian, and he's not interested in how much he's getting on. He's interested in how much you are getting. In how much you are getting. I was in book publishing. In book publishing, the traditional thing is that royalty to the author is between 10 and 15%. 15% means you're a very established author, your name sells. But a new author, 10%. And typically a Ghanaian comes, you sit down with him, all right, so how much is the royalty? Your royalty is 10%. Into more for 90%. He doesn't realize that in any publishing house, any proper publishing house, if you make 5% return on a book, that's a very successful project. Half the time you make even 1%. Yes. But he goes, hey, this one, my productions. There are people who come to the National Theatre, they don't enter. They come and stand at the car park. Hey, Papa, when you go.
Yeah. They are reading your money.
Yes.
They are reading your money.
In the cars when you know, or inside, yeah, Papa, when you go. Okay, with the National Theatre first saying, with the emphasis say 4,000, or just saying, or just 100. Yay! Papa Nenyeska. He's not coming into the room. He has calculated for me. The Ghanaian attitude. I think we'll have to find a way of letting the Ghanaian artists understand that 100% of zero is not wise. Oh, I'll do it alone. I will do it alone. I'll go it alone. I will not collaborate with anybody. It is my work. I am the one. So I want 100% returns. But you are going to get 100% returns of zero. Take 10% of 100. You are better off. 10% of 100. You are better off. It could be a lot. It could be anything. We need that. We need that. But those of us in this room, I saw the times of Wilberforce Infum. I saw the times of Ose Kofi. I saw the times of Edward Akwa. I saw the times of the late Baba Yara. These were people who could have given Ronaldo a run for their money. Edodakwa shoots the ball. A goalkeeper saves it once. The next time, the goalkeeper gets busy avoiding it. No, true. The goalkeeper will find creative ways of avoiding the shot. Because the shot is not friendly. I saw them. I've seen, I cannot be mesmerized by a Messi because I've seen Polo. I've seen Osekofi. I've seen people who, when they picked the ball, did whatever they wanted to do with the ball. I've seen Mohamed Polo, do things with the ball on the stadium that men, hardcore men, are so overwhelmed by what they have seen that they are standing in the stadium and they are weeping. They are crying. Because they are overwhelmed. They can't explain what did he do? What did he do? Look at Polo, look at yeah. And he's crying. We've seen that. So when people go and then the conversation, who is greater, Messi or this? I said, I've seen better players than these. I've seen better players like this. All these guys did not see the reward of their craft. But if they had also not made their contribution, there would have not been Abedi Pele, there would not have been our captain, Stephen Appiah, there would not have been the current Asamoah and co. We must understand that some of us may not see the full benefit, but let's do that which we need to do. Let's keep doing it, finding better ways of doing it. And someday, a generation after us will reap more because of our tears, our pain, our toil, and our blood. Because Eddie can for bread, but it is fine. So Eddie can for no umbrella, a cheer for no will not be able to take off. And that is my challenge this evening is this. And I'll make it into a prayer because I'm passing. God, give us leadership that think about Ghana, that love Ghana, that use the power state give them to let it be about Ghana and not about anybody, about Ghana. And give us the artist who knows his place and raise the right kind of people who would come and build businesses around an artist. Right now, what we are having are artists trying to build businesses around them, they themselves. It won't work. I'm doing the best I can. George, I'm doing the best I can. I may not make much money, but I can guarantee you the next Ebo White will be a multi-billionaire.
Amen.
Because out of necessary sacrifice, I would leave behind a template and pick it and run with it. With that, I'd like to thank Joy Entertainment once again. This is a bold thing. Let it not be once in a blue moon. Let's keep this conversation going. To my fellow artists, 100% of zero is not wise. It is not wise at all. And to all of us, Edikan for bread.
Sure.
Let's do the work. Thank you very much.
And that is the legendary James Ebo White, Ghana's favorite uncle. You heard him, Edikan for bread. We are going to continue to, pave the way for the next generations, but we cannot do it alone. We need every single person on board. When we come back from this short break, it's going to be question time, and then we'll try to see if we can bring our conversation to a close. It's the Showbiz Roundtable, a special edition of Showbiz A to Z, right here on Joy 99.7 FM and online at myjoyonline.com, and also on Joy Prime Television. Stay on. We'll be back. Hello there. Welcome back to the special edition of Showbiz A to Z that we call the Showbiz Roundtable, the first of many, powered by Joy Entertainment. We're live 9.7 FM and also on television, Joy Prime TV, and online across all. We have a Joy 99.7 FM and Joy Prime Television. You can also, of course, if you've got the My Joy Online app, maybe My Joy Online app, it's in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and then you can install it and you can listen to us live. We're also on Twitter Spaces, themed music business and tourism. Our panel, of course, if you're watching us live on TV, then you've seen Mr. Rudy Quaye, CEO of Rape Media, and of course, the man who makes Afro Nation happen in GH, Mr. Pangianov, CEO of Pigeon Music. He's worked with some great musicians in Ghana. He's an event planner as well, and he's also a writer. Yes, a very prolific one at that. No wonder he looked like Wole Soyinka right now. And of course, to the first who's doing great for the motherland in SA and other places. Big legend in there. And of course, you know him, the man we call Sadiq Abdullahi Abu. He makes the 3 music awards happen. And I hear next year I'm getting the Lifetime Achievement. Anyway, our keynote speakers who spoke to us early on were my man Rex Omar, chairman of the Ghana Music Rights Organization and CEO of Roverman Productions. That was our last speaker. Ghana's favorite uncle, Mr. James Ebo White. We've had lovely, the finest brains in this industry right here with us at the beautiful Labadi Beach Hotel. And in a minute, we're going to go to them. But Adom Praise is just round the corner. Themed Christ's work is going to be one experience you really do not want to miss. It's going down Friday, 4th of experience at the Perez Dome, Jolu, from 6 p.m. It's got Travis Green, who's coming in from the United States of America. And we've also got soul winners, PSC Esther, Edwin Datson, Celestine Donko, my girl, Ohima Messi, my other girl, Jack Alolumle, Perez Music, my brother, Mac Enim from the SDA, and the Multimedia Choir, Sax Bossais in the building, Jesse Morgan, Effie Grace, Kofi Usupepra, and a lot more. Don't forget, it's on 4th November, coming Friday at the Perez Dome. From 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Tickets are going for just 100 Ghana cedis, single, and for double, you go for 150 at First National Bank branches in Accra. You can get it at Airport, Accra Main, Junction Mall Shopping Center, Makola, Accra Mall, Achimota Retail Center, Tema Community 11, West Hills Mall, Tema Community 1, Joy FM, Kokumlemle Sales Point, and then Market Circle, Tadi, Idum Kumase as well. Come be blessed, hashtag Adom Praise 2022. Of course, it's proudly sponsored by Franco Trading Enterprise, 21st Clinic, Naya's Toothbrush, Kelm Pharmaceuticals Limited, Frytol Sunflower Oil, AA Charcoal Toothpaste, Anas Boy Enterprise, Acida Fabrics, Avis Ghana, The Avenue Boutique Hotel, Las Palmas Food Center, Escort Security Services, Fatex Toilet Roll, Unique Foods, Garlic ACE Auto Free from Jabina Pharmacy, Anti-Amasarins in days from 1:30 p.m. You get a broadcast program sponsored by the Church of Pentecost. So tune in every Sunday that nourishes the soul, ignite Pentecost, possessing the nation. And here's a very interesting one. You might want to get ready for the biggest choral event in Ghana. Join the grand 15th anniversary concert dubbed Harmonious Ascending Praise, celebrating 15th Sunday, October 30th. That's just tomorrow. It's going down at the ICGC Christ Temple West inside Abosokai, and 150 cedis double. If there's 3 of you, you can get it at a cool 200 Ghana cedis only from Bachona Total Airport Shell. Or you can also dial 0276 389 747. Proudly brought to you by Pamo Wanted Posted Get It, Antiama Sardine in Tomato Sauce, EcoBank Harmonious in Africa. Here's one from my family, and they're from 3 p.m. on 99.7 Joy FM as young gems vie for that enviable spot of an all-expense paid educational and fun for all the adventures. Attend the robotics workshop, gala dinner with children from other countries, and also attend the Young Achievers Leadership Academy Yala Camp 2022, plus loads of other fun at Olympiad Academy, and hosted by Adam Knight. Hey, Joy FM. Yes, as I did indicate early on, we've been having great convos. And it's now time we come back to the panel to wrap it all up. So if anybody has any contribution, any microphone, and then we'll hear from you. Right, over there. Okay. Please start by telling us your name and possibly...
My name is Alex Latte Odue.
Right.
I'm the welfare officer for Music at Greater Accra.
Awesome.
And also the in-house sound please, and please again, if this industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and then it's like we don't see, I'm suggesting something. Why do we even coming to have our elections? We're now coming to have our executives to lead us, so that the government should bring in a team of professionals to come in, supervise or steer the affairs of the union or of the industry, so that they can see what potentials is in there that the government can tap, and that will bring money to the industry.
Point well made.
And that's two.
Yes.
And then second question is...
No, I think because of our time, let's take one each, please. Let's take one each.
Oh,
and let's try to keep it connected to our conversation.
This is just, across.
Yes.
Like Uncle Ebo White's submission. It says a musician managing himself, I think, is zero. So then, how could then a musician be, head musicians in the union, like our presidency, our executives? I mean, we should check that out. Thank you very much.
Musical problems there. If we bring it here, we will not finish our conversation.
No, but
so yes,
yeah. But there's a very important part of the conversation. See, we should stop seeing music as a society of musicians, but rather as a professional body that represents the interest of musicians. And if you set up a professional body, what do? You
find professionals to run it.
You hire professionals to run it. You hire managers, admin people to administer the things.
Like the way AAG has an executive director who is a professional with a team that's running it.
And the team that is running it's not left to other advertisers per se that are because that's some of the challenges.
CIMG has that as well.
All of that. I mean, Risa, Sam Rowe, they are professional managers with a man. He used to be former head of Universal Music in Africa. Sifo used to be.
Sifo.
Yeah, he used to be Sam Rowe.
Yeah.
Exactly. So which means he could work as he's working in a commercial organization right now. The former head of Risa that organizes the South African Music Awards was a former colleague and partner in MTV. He was head of marketing. If we don't start to see the organization as a professional body, then we would keep making the mistakes that we are making. And I'm not saying that musicians are not capable. We were a lot of points for talent. And we said that, but Trick, you stopped being a talent a long time ago. You're an executive right now because you run business. You run a charity. You run... you run a business, and you're in tourism, you are in farms. He's in profit-generating ventures. So when you're talking to Trig, I'm not talking to Trig, the musician. Executive right now. Until we start to see the organization as a professional body,
we'll continue to
make that mistake that we make where people run it. Then yes, let's get to there. Let them face an interview, say, when you want to hire a CEO, what do?
Let's hear from Russ Apia.
Yeah, I'm Russ Caleb Apia Levi, a member of Musica, broadcaster, and also a tourism man. Talking about the music industry in Ghana, sometimes I think about myself, I say, in the music industry, compare Ghana to La Côte d'Ivoire here. Ghana is like a village. Why? Nothing from 1985. I know how we log. I know how the royalties are collected. In 1996, I took him to Radio Côte d'Ivoire, where I used to work, on the English channel. Then the TV station, then another station, which is like Joy FM here, it's called Nostalgie in Plateau. Then we went to Burida, which is like Gamro here. Now, at Burida, when we went there, on a notice board, their royalties are published. 3 months, every 3 months. Alpha Blondy got 33 million. Somebody got 4,000 CFA because they log Alpha Blondy's music, they play it so much, They do what? When they interview you, they pay royalties, they publish, they do this. Nothing works here. Nothing works here. So, I feel so happy that nothing works, but our musicians here are making magic. Yeah, nothing works. So I am not so cool of even releasing. I organize events, so I know what goes in. I don't jealous people who organize events. Alpha Blondie's concert in Accra here in Kumasi in 1986 was sponsored by Pioneer Tobacco Company, PTC, where Mr. Gedilai, that's where I met Mr. Gedilai. By then, Alpha Blondie has released only 2 or 3 albums. But we flew from Casablanca with his own equipment. Accra and Kumasi Stadium, like Kotoko has. No Ghanaian artist alone has done that.
The headline act.
Yeah.
I used to live close to the stadium.
Yes.
I remember even that night we didn't sleep.
I tell you, in Kumasi, I was afraid for people climbing the floodlights. In La Côte d'Ivoire, we tour from 1984 when I worked with him around the country, and Alpha plays in stadia. People breaking the stadium walls in, San Pedro just to come and see these artists. It's about tourism. We tour. We sleep in 3, 4, 5-star hotel. We don't buy the food. It's buffet. That artist. Because of Alpha Blondie, EMI Patti Makoni came to La Côte d'Ivoire in 1984. And all the artists there, Ishmael, Isaac, and others all got a bit to be, sponsored or being produced. Ghana here, the system is not working. So no sponsor, no company will put their money in. Alpha Blondie organized monthly festivals at Bassam, Grand Bassam. And the merchandising, watch, pen, cap, cloth, all these kind of things. Such a thing don't happen here. So what we need to do is to make the system work here is to implement the global thing, which is the login system. And any artist or any recording artist, when you record, you need to register with the Copyright Office, then you register with GAMRO, the Collection Society. But they don't do that. When you hear Rex said it. Every musician here don't want to belong to a union. Mm-hmm. But when something happens to them, they all run to the union.
Well,
you see? So we in the industry, we need to package ourselves. I have performance contract between an artist and the promoter. I have it. Between the artist and the recording artist, between the artists and the managers. Managers are not one managers. Business manager, personal managers. Our artists don't know anything.
Okay.
So we have to fight for the structures to be put in place.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We heard from Rasapia Levi. Let's give him a hand. We'll take one last one and then we'll come back to the table. Last one. Caleb. Yes.
All right. My name is Caleb Nimboy. I would want to throw this to Sadiq because I took keen interest in his comment on contracts, especially with one artist we all know he has, should I say, banter with. But I also believe that we've not done a lot of education on that parts of it because some do not know, or they know and they just close their eyes on it. So whose responsibility is it to be educating these people, especially the old ones? And then what about the young ones there too? Because we really want to get to a situation 10 years from now, we'll come around and start the young ones and the already established musicians on contract basis within this industry. Thank you.
A very interesting one there. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your contributions and questions. Sadiq, there was a question. For me, the education bit is quite interesting.
Yeah, but I think that there's one thing we all need to understand. In the absence of the well-run business units it's your sole responsibility to enhance your market desirability at somebody operating. It's your responsibility. When you want to enhance your market desirability as a professional and you decide to go and, pursue your MBA or do a course or anything like that, what compels you to do that? Sadiq or Rudy? It is yourself. So if you decide that, and a lot of them as creative people, often in the more mature markets, the way it's happened is that they are well-structured business units in the AKA the labels and the organizations which have like proper corporate governance system. And so by the time you are picked from the street, you go through your A&R system, you go through the marketing system, by the time they would have developed you. So by the time your first project comes out, you would have understood the importance of all these things. You would have gone through all these different departments because you see the legal person coming in. When you are sampling, you see somebody from the licensing department coming in. When it gets to the marketing and promotion side, so you would have structured it. But in the absence of that, it is up to you to really understand these things because, there's no excuse. Nobody, it's not charity. And there's one thing about it. Because over time in Ghana here, the conversation has been always related to enabling the art and not enabling the commerce around the arts. It's the art runs it. It actually drives it. So it is entitled to anybody. That your artist is not, nobody, you need to be truthful to them. It's up to you. If you breach the contract, it's there. You'll be taken on. And a few of that. When there's a breach, we also breach. I've had instances where I breach. When I breach, I find a way to do it because you want to avoid whatever will come.
I do agree that nobody owes you anything. Shouldn't music be organizing
business processes?
But he was catering to an individual.
To an individual situation.
But I do want to say this, and let's do a little exercise. Take your girl child to school.
Yeah.
You all know what it was, right? Yeah. Good. What's the condom song? The A song. The one with Reggie and all of them.
Advocacy.
That one.
You cannot cause a behavior change unless you educate.
Yeah.
So, Musica, how much of your earnings go into educating your own self? Newsletters.
Let's give that the boss
posters. What we need to see, and the thing is this: we can start and we can throw jabs at government and responsibility and whatnot.
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, I'm soaking everything in. I'm enjoying it. Great conversations. Very insightful. I've learned so much today, adding to what I know over 40 years in this business. Now, I tell you something. Today, my heart is gladdened. Do you know why? Because I can see my musical people here.
Yes. Yes.
I clearly remember we brought Stevie Wonder's UK manager and another cat. Big boys from around the world, sponsored by British Council. And you should have seen who was there. We've done this guy who was there. But the point I'm making is, times are changing. So when we shared this Showbiz thing, and I got here and I saw the guys here, I was like, yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
The last one, and all those guys together. This is something that is dear to the heart of music. I kept passing to me, tell them that when you do it, they don't come.
Yeah.
That is the
I spoke about.
That's the point.
Because you find the platforms.
It is high time. It is high time artists realize that the music business is changing. It's changed from the days labels. We used to have Polygram, all those companies here. It's changed. Now the responsibility, and I've heard people talk about responsibility here, lies in the hands of it was a passion or something. Now it is 5%, let me say, talent and 95% business. So you need the right know-how. For instance, the stuff Rudy was talking about. These days, no artist should think I can just scribble something on paper and get somebody buying in. There's so much work you need to put in. Fortunately for us, there's so many talents around. The young kids who just graduated from university, they know about digital marketing, the young lawyers. It's time for us to do the right things and build this industry together. I'm so happy.
Look, Daddy, there's one thing everybody needs to understand here. Every day, today, you can't actually even release your music successfully without signing to a particular term sheet or contract. All the aggregator contracts that you are signing before your songs is released on any of the pros platforms are contracts. At that particular instance, you need to know what yourself and your team need to understand what you're getting into. It's not Trig, myself. It is up to you. That's why I said that the beginning and end of the business,
it's all in your hands.
law.
Okay.
It's in your hands.
All right. Let us move forward. Robert. Okay. I was wondering whether or not you were still with us.
No, pretty much everything has been said, but the heart of what I want to focus on is what Sadiq was saying. That individual responsibility for growth in a place where there's a lot of chaos. If you don't think about you surviving, you will sink. That's what it is.
True.
You understand?
Exactly.
We can't keep counting on others to do the right thing for us and blame them and say they are not doing this. The only person you can blame is the government because you have a contract with them that they are supposed to deliver their mandates. Otherwise, they shouldn't have been in position in the first place. That's it. That one you can make the noise and nobody will cry. But I think that people need to take up that responsibility for self and to advance to music business. They told you that you have if you want to sing, go and join a choir. Otherwise, if you are entering into the music, put it up neatly for us. People who have gone ahead are telling us that he said it, he couldn't have said it right. I mean, I'm not a businessman, I'm the businessman. You understand? And Quaye has reiterated it. It's been said over and over again. If you are going to function as an independent, somebody himself, and it goes without saying. So I think that thing where people are waiting going forward. I just want to bring, if you type in good, not less than 20. So we need to also get to the point where we slap everything with, it's some light-weighted stuff. And I think that if I know medicine came from people coming to learn medicine.
Yeah,
exactly. And then if you go to KNUSA, they are there. All the Nigerians who are coming, most of them were coming here for that particular purpose. We need to factor all of that. It's important right now. Like, look, there's not just entertainment, it's spiritual. They need to understand themselves and find themselves and then make meaning out of it. You listen to all the conversations out there, and that is a level of seriousness they're attached to it. What are we doing about it? How ready are we? In fact, there are even repercussions if these guys are coming down and our city is depreciating. Inflation we are going to experience this month, because the guys are coming with dollars, and what we cannot afford to buy, they can buy. Like I'm looking at a particular land out there, and it's what 20K. And a while back, they just have to need some small money, they are buying that thing. And so at the end of the day, we are going to be disenfranchised. So all of these things we need to understand, and the cultural dilution and things changing, we just cannot open our doors without being prepared. It's everything 360. We can't think shallow anymore. There's nothing like, it has to be completely engineered to put the things on the book by its own and do these things for ourselves. If music is not working, let's just make it work.
That is my brother, Robert Clash. Important part of this whole music, man. When we are done, we'll pick the proper close. And looking at our music itself as an exportable product, as a tourism product, in South Africa. He had been there for over 2 years. He had heard a lot of songs from other places. Lucky, and at least there was one from Ghana. They had Kiddy Touch It. A lot of us have traveled places, and we've shared same experiences. I continuously share an experience where in a shop on Oxford Street in London, when I got to the till, all through the shop, they were playing a lot of Ghanaian. Then all of a sudden, Time Bomb started playing. And we all know Time Bomb. It is Samini featuring Wizkid, not the other way around. I finished, I went to pay and I asked them, the song you're playing, where is it? I said, it's Nigerian. You like it? Huh? I said, no, it's not Nigerian, it's Ghanaian. I said, no, it was almost a fight. Dude swore heaven and earth that it's Nigerian. Even here, I'm on radio. A lot of us are guilty. We blast Niger music 24/7. Now, don't get it wrong. There is nothing wrong with music from Nigeria. It is music. It is good music. Are we probably shooting ourselves in the foot by patronizing?
Look, and this cycle, it's getting old. Let's put some things in perspective.
Let's help us put it in
Consumer
perspective.
taste. There was a time Jamaican dancehall captured our attention.
Yeah.
We had time, it's gone.
Jungle
Jungle came. It's all Ghanaian music didn't die. is when we frame the thing about somebody's music against what we can do with what we have. Energy about supposedly somebody's music and forget that we can ride. There is nothing we can do about what Amapiano is doing on that. We can invent another style that would take it because leave.
Yeah.
And the world will find a different flavor and replace Amapiano with it. The question is in what's happening in our labs, our music labs. What's the new art forms? What's the new remixes? What's the new forms that we are creating with the baseline that we have? We gave the world our own tool. We were so focused on somebody trying to take it, we actually just didn't push it to where it needs to be pushed. And I think, honestly, sometimes we belittle the creativity of the Ghanaian when we make it an us versus them. It would always exist. We need to... Hip-hop, it's a global phenomenon.
Yep.
There are hip-hoppers in Saudi Arabia. There are Dubai people that do hip-hop. You can't change it. I don't know why we're fighting a tide that is already here. But what we can is reinvent. What we can is recreate.
Yeah.
Panji created a system for One Love that he will eat forever, because every summer, One Love doesn't need to release music. That old stock just puts him on festivals and he collects foreign exchange into his pocket. And we are still scratching our heads. I wanted to use a different body part.
Yeah, it's all right. You can use armpit.
Let's go down a little
No,
bit.
no, it's okay.
but the point, and he's still on it. I mean, look, if Atakak's story cannot inspire us, then we should stop these conversations.
Punchy, what are your thoughts
Atakak
on
made
this one?
music,
Yeah.
and it went to sleep, and then and he took it to Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And we're still worried about somebody's
music.
It
still
will come. There's
dominating our
nothing we
space.
can do about it. We are enveloped. China is busy. Billions in a lab. China wants. There's one thing that has eluded the Chinese. As much as a cultural powerhouse that they are, there's one part that Chinese music has not grown and gone anywhere.
Yeah.
China is spending massive amounts. They want to bottle that one. And honestly, culture is the last field that they can't own. Because like Panji rightly said, when you go and dig in Egypt, 5,000, not references of politics, economic well-being, no. It's references to a way of life.
No. Yeah.
It's not exchange rate. And that's the one thing they are looking to. China there was a project, and there's a BBC documentary, go look for it, about
Really,
how
they started to
Chinese...
own it, in fact.
They wanted to actually create a Chinese global pop star. And they sat down, created an agency, and gave them hundreds of millions of dollars. They fell on the side, they took their lens, okay, you know what, we'll try it again. We'll try it again. The small South Korean, and I'm saying small because if you don't compare South Korea in size to Nigeria.
Yeah.
In population size, akin to South Africa. But South Korea managed to actually bottle up the global zeitgeist of creative talents. In movies, series, literally half the things you are watching from Hollywood on series platforms is actually remakes of things that were done in South Korea. The day I discovered that Suits,
Rudy, hold
the
that
original
thought.
Suits
Hold
was
that thought.
actually...
We need to say bye to our viewers on television, Joy Prime. Thank you so very much for joining us on this special edition of Showbiz A to Z called the Showbiz Roundtable. Now, the show, it continues right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Also, we're still online, so don't worry. Just switch slightly. The show continues. Now, Rudy, you were saying.
Suits was actually originally a South Korean series.
Panji.
I think forget artists, businessmen, partners, friends, is to focus on somebody else instead of focusing on yourself. It's like Uncle Ebo said, a Ghanaian is always trying to see what is in your pocket. Instead of looking in his pocket and thinking, hey, Charlie, my pocket is okay today. Oh. Today was a good day. Look how much money I have in my pocket. No matter how much money is there, we are looking in somebody else's pocket to see.
How much Rudy gets for there?
So I really think, you know, for us as Ghanaians to create conflict between or within ECOWAS, to me is nonsensical, because to somebody in China, there is no difference between Ghanaian music, Nigerian music, even, I would say, we can add some Congolese music and so on. You know, so we have to understand that actually, when Nigerians make progress, they are pulling us along. When we make progress, we are pulling them along. Yeah. So it is actually in our interest to help each other and to push each other. I do think that there are times when you can feel, you know, Amapiano has dominated the last 2 hours, or Nigerian music has dominated the last 2 hours. But the only reason why they are doing it is because they have produced something that we like. You know, music is not a fight. Music is either you love music
or you don't.
Yes, or you don't. You know, and so I really think we should spend less time complaining and fighting other things and just keep our eye on our ball. Yes.
All right.
And you know,
And
move
stay
forward.
focused.
Yes.
So,
And support.
I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something. When Rudy was talking about tourism, he mentioned the word intentional. When we were talking about music, you don't want to say intentional. When we go beyond the studio and enjoy music, and I can understand that Uncle Punji is a very passionate person when it comes to music, so obviously he's talking from being a music lover and being an African. He's a Pan-African. But the truth is, we're talking about culture capital. We are also talking, and that's what the world is discussing now. And so it is intentional, the same way South Korea is trying to push K-pop. Look, I don't think that the Nigerians, like we hate to say it, I don't think they are unintentional about their drive and everything.
Very
so I agree that I agree that we shouldn't always be whining and because that one everybody gets tired. But I also say that let's also be intentional, and that brings Sadiq's point about policy. To push a kind of policy that favors the Ghanaian creative to the point where he's not broken, and I'm not talking about emotions, I'm talking about even from an investment point of view. For instance, Ras was talking about logins. Logins will affect a lot of musicians if we do not guide music play on radio. Ghanaian musicians. Why? I just want to land. Why I say that is because, for instance, when a station that I used to work with gave it to a South African management before the Ghanaians took over, we had a radio play policy. They brought in a policy. They also brought in a compulsory playlist to be submitted by every DJ. They also brought in a folder where all music will be dumped in, and you cannot play outside that folder. So that was how they were logging at the time, because it was a manual way of logging, because the automated one wasn't there. And I realized that we sort of have the power to also control what the listener listens to. Because at a point in a week, you can hear one particular song a number of times. And they gave us days where we were to play Ghanaian music. And I remember there was a time my DJ actually said, Charlie, to come to think of it, Ghanaians get songs. So in his mind, he's always thought he's not playing a lot of Ghanaian songs because we don't have enough songs for him to play and to mix. But he's been playing it for almost a month. And he was telling, I don't really repeat any Ghanaian song. I know I've been playing new songs all through. The new artists are releasing songs every day. But it's just how we have done the playlisting to the point where, and let's not forget, music has other factors like frequencies and all those things that affects the listener. It makes it grow on the listener. And so we have a role to play. I'm just saying that let's not throw away the fact that we have a role to play and then totally say that we should dismiss the thoughts.
I don't think the point was
Sadiq, one sec.
I don't think it's about dismissing. We have a choice. Which are the battles do we want to fight? Do I want to fight a 30 million market battle, or I want a 2 billion market? Because that's where my competition that I'm worried about taking my 30 million space is actually focused on. I need to put, George, I need to put talent into Madison Square Garden. And before I deliver that, I have to reach that market. If my focus is on this 30 million space, I will forget it. And the thing is this, which of the battles do you want to fight? See, in technology, Africa especially, we make leaps past certain things. So the phone developed from a certain system. When we got there, we skipped one point and went straight to mobile. Yeah. And we could have just said that let's go back and follow the system as it is. Or when we saw the market opportunity, we skipped that part and we went straight for it. So Ghana's culture capital globally is evident in December that is coming. Yeah. We are bringing people in to the country. We have a strong recall that our competitors in music don't have. Even though their music has more penetration than it does, which are the battles do you want to fight? Do you want to fight here, or do you want to fight there?
What if you could achieve both? Hold on. Let's hear Sadiq so that we can.
In terms of steps, your leg cannot take 2 steps at the same time. It can only take
you could hop.
I like
which makes you move faster anyway.
Yeah. So obviously I agree that, policy can change a lot of things, particularly if it's all encompassing. So for instance, if you had a very strong policy which assets publishing, you know how in more matured market, unless you are published by a certain organization that's registered there, you can't get a certain airplay. Yeah. Which creates a certain economic system of a way, because that way, wherever you are, for you to be able to get that particular, you could get the same level of airplay and everything. It would have to go through maybe a Ghanaian agency who, by virtue of what you're doing as well, it's creating a certain value for them and other people in the value chain. So I agree. But, George, you also need to understand where certain things are headed. Even if you create all these things, you started with a preamble about South Africa and all of these things. It doesn't just happen. Mm-hmm. Key point that all of us haven't focused on was the fact that in that year when Touch It came, it was one of the marketing behind it, the rollout strategy was the most effective and the best, because it was also led by the likes of Empire. Mm-hmm. So that's the point. Even if you do not know these things, you're able to see that how many people are releasing with a rollout strategy. What is a rollout strategy? Where is it? What is the conversation you're having? Like I said, a lot of things have changed. It's shifted. Gone were the days where you could just drop it and wait on vibes and inshallah and then you get a hit. Literally, it's engineered. Things, it's engineered. You need to have a rollout strategy for the month, in 2 months. You need to have, if you are going to engage influencers, tastemakers, all of these things are done. These people that you're consistently focused on and having conversations.
That's exactly what it is.
You know the reason why they are not focused on you and having the conversations? Because they recognize the business potential of it. And so before, I just showed an info sheet to Panji of an album. There's a part of it that details a couple of things. I can just actually even go there and you could actually see beyond the videos, the number of videos you're about to release, and the marketing budget and all of those things. It has everything. How many people are, and I can understand that it's always become, they say that issue of the money, the issue of the money. But think about it this way. Sometimes it's not the money. You have to decide that I'm willing to give off a bit of my estate to somebody if I can't pay the person. Mm-hmm. If you're sitting with Rudy, for instance, and having a conversation, you have a catalog that you want to take it to a certain destination. You can't pay him. Okay, how about having a conversation or agreeing to the fact that he can own a piece of the economic
Yeah, the
rights,
economic rights
by
of that.
doing ABCD and signing it. And today you can't run away from it, because if he has his publishers and he has his aggregators, they will track it. The earnings will come to him. Unlike before, where you sign a contract and run away. No, today when you put the music there, bam, his aggregators are chasing the splits there immediately from YouTube, from everywhere. So the point is simple. We need to understand that it's a business. Most importantly, the period had gone, and that's why I say let's take the responsibility in our own hands to understand that much as we've been talking about enabling the art, we need to continue to hammer it in their minds, that so they can understand that it's not just the art. It goes hand in hand. It's the artist releasing the music and thinking that we've got great products. Or it's not just the policy.
No, Let Sadiq land, gentlemen. Sadiq, are you done? Are you done? Okay, then let's go to Trek. Then we'll come to you.
In the midst of all of this, not too long ago, the said people brought out a policy which had now been accepted by legislature.
Nope, there was no policy.
No, hold on.
There was no policy.
No,
and I know
but the
that,
document was released.
conversation.
No, all I'm saying is there was the attempt. No, there was the attempt.
Intentional.
Yes, intentional.
They were
No,
intentional about it.
Let me correct
even
this.
if it came from a union, hold on.
Let me correct this.
Hold on.
I know
So
you said-
let them learn. Then
all
you
I'm
can,
saying
react
is,
to it.
all I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
I am agreeing to what everyone here has said about winding about the whole issue.
Yeah.
But all I am saying is that let's be as intentional as we want to be about every other thing we've discussed here today.
Very good.
Yeah.
Just also
Just
about
policy.
the policy.
Policies are good, and that's why I said that.
Hold on.
Last one. Ghanaians,
Yeah.
right? Here's how we sound like. We sound like a very entitled lot when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Because there are 52 countries on this continent. 54, right? On this continent. And we are always making it look like the others don't exist. Here's the thing. There are 40-something countries that doesn't get like a 0.0000% of the exposure
of the
that
global
is
market.
accorded to Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And the thing is this. Here's a 30 million population country. That punches like is 300 million. There's nothing in Ghana that we don't equate ourselves to Nigerians. Bigger economy, bigger number of people, like bigger number of billionaires, but still, Ghana is Ghana. You know, and that's the thing. So, but at a certain level, we sound like overly entitled. Look,
we qualify to the World Cup.
I can start talking. It's been a decade since I left MTV, right? And that was one of the things. One of the key markets that how do you launch MTV on the continent? You don't come to the culture capital of.
Yeah.
But yeah, this country generated
We
the
had a
least
ticket,
in
yes.
revenue
True.
to MTV.
Yeah.
But in everything, in spend, in push, in projects,
We
in
had a
whatnot,
lead. We had
Ghana
a
had
lead.
to be part. Why? Because the culture capital of Ghana, it is the only space, and I'll say this, yes, I can say it. If Afro Nation had happened in any other country apart from Ghana in 2019, it would have been it would have been blah.
Yeah.
It would have been fine. Why? Because there are bigger events that happen in other markets. They don't attract the global attention like when you do it in Ghana. Jay-Z and his wife performed in Global Citizen compared to the South African lineup in 2019, Ghana's lineup was poor. For Global Citizen. It's weak.
But the impact.
But the impact of doing it in Ghana, it is unraveled. Like I'm looking at some of the data sheets. You can't. It's a money. Ghana is a money can't buy experience.
So is it that we're not banking?
No.
on that?
But Rudy,
because we sleep on
hold
it.
on. One voice.
Do we value it? Do we
don't
ourselves
even
truly value it?
But Rudy, there's another value that we've not actually even talked about. You see, these things that it comes with certain things. Have you realized the amount of foreign musicians that come into the country consistently? You stay here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks to record and use your people.
True.
What was the Odogu song? There was a guitar strum in there that was played by a Ghanaian guy because it was partly recorded here.
Yes.
So they said every time when we talk, that's why I said that let's talk about enabling the commerce as well. Because every time we're looking to just the talent or the arts alone.
Thank you.
And so we are not focusing on everything. But you see, the other good part about it is that by virtue of us, our reception or hospitality and our receptive to a lot of these things, there are other values it unlocks for us. like us being the cultural capital of Africa,
Yeah.
like us becoming the holiday maker spot in December in Ghana, because
Like the coolest
that's
spot.
it.
You are not in
The
Ghana
coolest
in
spot,
December.
because it is
So-
where the
I have a
vibes
question.
is.
Hold on, I have a question. Early on, we did mention government as an enabler. I think you said
Yes.
that. Could it be that perhaps all these things that we're enjoying, everybody wanted to come here, when you do it in Ghana, is because government has created that environment
No,
to
private
make
sector.
it work?
Private
Private
sector.
sector. Private sector led.
No, I'm coming. So
It was private sector led.
remember that there's some of the things that the industry enjoys goes for everything else.
Yeah.
There's a reason why almost all the oil companies are here. There's a reason why, like, it's there. We have we have a
stability.
great, we have the
So there's
stability
something that government has to make
what
it
we are
stable.
talking
There's
about,
something
yes.
that Ghana
the
has.
3 billion that you saw could be 10.
Yeah.
If we're intentional about it.
some of these things.
So you see, and that's another thing about Ghanaians. So I went to one of the, I will not name that country, and I saw their airport. This is their international airport, one of the West African countries. I saw it like, I was like, this, and then I was with somebody and say, yeah, when your politicians come here, that's why when they come back, they think you people are entitled because they've done more than enough for you. That thing has stuck with me for years. It's like, why? Because when we look across, we actually we
know
are
better.
like we look too hot for ourselves. So it's like, no,
Burkina Faso's airport is like STC.
like
Yeah.
there was a project.
Yeah,
No.
I dissociate myself and the multimedia group from that comment.
They just be cool.
Please,
The guy.
hold on, let me learn. He works with three music
Yeah,
network.
Don't let them Moses rise on me. Don't let them Moses rise on me.
But that's the thing about what we're saying, that I'm glad for the fact that we are all not satisfied with where we are.
Thank you.
I just want us to channel our energy towards the fact that the enabler needs to be pushed, but they cannot do it all. And that thing that we say, the government listen, it's hand in hand. More than half, in fact, let me know, 90% of the things you see in December in Ghana is
privately.
all
Privately
privately funded, privately
Almost about
enabled, privately.
98%.
People put their investment towards it. People's school fees and things that they do the thing.
No,
It's
really,
and it's hard.
really-
But the thing is this: if there's an enabler who is in lockstep with you on certain things, we could triple the investment into it.
Rudy, maybe you need to say it right, and that's the point. Look,
You gotta stop that
I
thing.
understand the whole Sloganarian part about it, and it's been successive governments where they look at what the private people are doing, and then when it creates a certain spectacle, they just want to come and take a bit of it. I've made this point, and I remember some people in government took me on when I said that, look, 2019, when I said the off return largely failed, also because I was making an analogy that, look, it largely failed because they were selling our slave heritage, right? The core of it was our slave heritage. And to be able to get a few of the diasporans, it was a sequel to what Panafest had done, what the Joseph Project had done, and everything.
Emancipation Day.
So in terms of that target, it didn't achieve much. But guess what? That year in December 2019, what happened in 2019 has been building up for more than 20 years.
I'll even say 50 years,
50 years.
60 years.
Yes, it's been building up for more than 50 years. And I remember, anybody that will remember what private people like what the Quaye UKs were doing in Ghana in December
what's the man with the
by what
Creative
they were
Storm?
doing, Creative Storm. What they were doing essentially was running in these European countries from London, Belgium, wherever, and then trying to promote parties. They sit on the, what's it called, Ghana Airways, promote it. I'm coming, I'll just land. I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. And then obviously what eventually, because of the euphoria December had in Ghana, what came out of it, like the Rapaholics and all of these things that had been building up, right? And so it's kind of consolidated by that particular December. So obviously it was easy for anybody to actually look at it, smart decision, and say, okay, since this failed, and it was the same year, let me leverage the entertainment vibe or your holiday maker spots and then use it to amplify this particular thing. But it's been driven. That's why we are saying that if you look, George, the reason why government must take a look at this is we are all worried about some of this. I've just indicated that every year we're pushing in almost $3 million into the Nigerian economy because of talents that we're all booking. I just did something for you. If you are concerned about it and actually want to turn it and change it, obviously there are few things that needs to be done within the chain. one of it would be by incentivizing, because at the heart of it is the commerce of it. Today, even when you put out a policy, Giba will resist, because for Giba, they are actively making a certain investment. It's a commercial entity, it's commercial organization. You just can't create any content policy without recourse to them. Because they'll fight it, because they're actively making the investment. The moment it would affect their year-on-year revenues, or they see that it would affect their audience and affect their advertising revenues, they'll fight it.
Okay.
So,
all right, hold on,
unless you want to find a way,
here is something for us to chew on. I'm trying to. And last week, Pancho was in our studios, and Sadiq, you brought the question about Hip Life and the founder and all that. And I mean, it's been debated over and again. Everybody agrees that before Reggie Rockstone, there was rap in Ghana. Even Pancho did not deny that fact. I mean, everybody agrees to that. But everybody also agrees that the one that gave it a shirt to wear, made it a brand.
But George, every time I'm on your program, why do we go back to the same subject? It doesn't matter what the subject.
No, let me
You're not making a point. You keep saying everybody. Who told you it's everybody?
Okay, many people. Let me clarify.
Yes. So look, George.
No. Let me make the point first. Before, this is not about Reggie.
Isn't this music and tourism we are dealing with?
Yes, let me make my point. The point is in relation to what Sadiq was saying. So there's no denying the fact that before Year of Return, there were December activities that Aquaba UK, a lot of people, even Charterhouse created Ghana Rocks concert and all those that brought the UK acts and a lot of other people. It existed already. Are we trying to say, hold on, are we saying that, look, that the Year of Return idea, that very concept, did not shoot it to another level? Is that what we're trying to say?
No, it did.
I think it did.
I think that is the point.
The thing is this, even Sadiq admitted
that.
So
I think that is the point. No, to make it look like, because they existed already and made it. I'm just trying to situate it properly.
This is the thing that we do also when we have conversations about government.
Yeah.
We try and create reasons for the little they do. No, I would never say that. You see, giving a form and a brand and a positioning made it, we will be able to interact, touch, and feel it. And that opened doors.
And put numbers to it.
Let's not even get around it.
Then I think we're all in the same space now.
It is important.
Yeah. What are you supposed
to do
for the value
let it not stop there.
Of course, for the value that you are getting as a country.
Because you see, to be an intentional, there's a systemic problem we are facing in December. And it's not anybody. Yeah, we can say twin challenges or whatever it is, but shut up. The thing is this: our December in Ghana is under threat because of something that may be out of our own, all of us inventing people or even Airbnb. Only a government can be intentional about that. It's flights. The entire Ghana, 5 flights a day come into in here. A330s.
Yes.
Give or take, it's 1,500 people land
people
a day.
Bought
so when Minister of Tourism tells one player to bring in 20,000 people for a 2-day event, we go add rooms. We need flights. And that is where an enabler and an intentional player comes to the player and say, okay, what are we going to do? Because people are
let's
booking
charter
tickets.
some flights.
Help people to come. What incentives can we give players to say, hey, there's a number of taxes that are here and here and here. We're going to make this operation. If you guys are going to step in and put in the planes, because there's something about this, and we're talking about this afternoon.
Just this afternoon.
Yeah.
A plane cannot leave empty to come and pick you to go and not be taxi. So when they land, there must be a certain level of people leaving that space to make it economical for it to go. And Ghana's traffic is this way for a period and then that way for a period. So that period, and you can't ground a plane 7 days or 14 days waiting to go back. That's also money.
That's a lot of money.
But if we want to do that, and that's when an intentional player comes into the conversation and decides that, okay, I'm going to support you with this relief, that relief, that relief, that allows for us to have 100,000 people coming. And that's when entrepreneurs will now start to see, okay, there's something here. Let's create this project and put our money in. Let's rent the planes. Because if they don't come, the foreign exchange we're looking for, until the customer lands,
There's
there's
nothing to
zero
spend.
benefit.
This one says, nice show with great personalities. I'm learning a lot, George. Kudos to Joy Entertainment, Kojo here. George, I'm really enjoying the best show, loud and clear inside East Legon. I pray our artists and creative people are listening. This is very educated from Cruz. Great show. Hope this comes to stay. Kudos to the team, Joy Entertainment, par from DC. This one says, good afternoon, George. Greetings from the Ashaiman side of the country. This is a very good initiative. Kudos to the team in Shira. I really learned a lot, George. Rudy is right when he said bad behavior when it comes to contracts here. And a lot of people are tuned in. Let me say shouts to Adeline Boateng, Michael Quimby, and Alex Boache. And not forgetting Carl from UNESCO, who's also listening. Now, before we go away, I'll come take your final thoughts too, but is your SIM card registered? Gentlemen, are all your SIM cards registered?
Yeah.
Okay, you can dial star 400 hash now to check the status. If you're fully registered your SIM card, then you should see the following. Your name that appears on your valid national ID card, unique code with a set of alphanumeric digits, unique to you, and B cap with the word yes. Please do well to visit any MTN service center today to get your biometric details captured if you do not see a B cap with the word yes by it. The registration is absolutely free. You will not be required to make any payments. Plus, we give you 1 gig free data valid for 7 days. You have the yes? Solid. You've done the right thing. Remember, all SIM cards not registered with the Ghana card are going to be disconnected by November 1st, 2022, as directed by the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. Let's work together to enable you to continue to use your MTN number. And November 1st, that's how many days are we? Like some 2 days, eh? Yeah. Get ready for the biggest choral event in Ghana. Join the Salt and Light Music Ministry and your favorite choir, the Harmonious Choral, as we present a grand 15th anniversary concert dubbed Harmonious Ascendant Praise, celebrating 15 years of impactful art music in Africa. It's on Sunday, that's tomorrow, October 30th, 2022, at ICGC Temple West, Abose Okai, from 5 p.m. You can grab a ticket from Bachona Total, Airport Shell, Dansoman Shell, Kuala Shopping Mall inside Osu for 80 CD single, or 150 double, or 200 for triple. Or you can call the ticket hotline on 0276 389 747. Sponsors are Pamo Wanted Posted Get It, Auntie Amma Sardine in Tomato Sauce, and EcoBank. Harmonious Ascending Praise, celebrating 15 years of impactful art music in Africa. And the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 is here. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and Adansi is making you experience it in a grand style. With just $2,700, you can be part of the World Cup campaign to support Black Stars to victory. The packages come with return flights, accommodation, breakfast, tours, and a lot more exciting goodies. Just dial 059 385 0079 or 055 631 0404, and you can get a choice to stay in Doha or in Dubai. Dial them up, and or visit them in East Legon at their offices near American House, or you can follow them on social media at Adansi Travels. And yes, next weekend it's going down. Ghana DJ Awards is going down. It's live Saturday, 5th November at the Silver Star Towers, Airport City. You don't want to miss that. Just turn up. You can book your ticket starting from 100 Ghana cedis now by just dialing star 713 star 33 star 00 hash. That's star 713 star 33 star 00 hash. Or visit the front desk of Joy 99.7 FM, Hits FM to buy your ticket. Ghana DJ Award sponsored by Ego Tickets, the Gold Coast Restaurant, Rhythms Africa Virtual Hub, the Radio Advertising People, and Virtual Sound Lab. Media partners Hyperlink Africa, Daniel Ejikum Photography, Beanie Words, Music in Africa, Dofopa FM, and the 1957 News. Proudly sponsored by Origin Live Original, Ebony Condom, Ghana's most pleasurable condom, and powered by Joy Entertainment, always large and in charge. And I see a lot more messages coming through. I'll get to them in a bit. But don't forget, Adom Praise is also round the corner, with a man, Travis Green, coming in from the US of A. It's on the 4th of November. You don't want to miss that. This one says, okay, yeah. I've read most of your messages. Oh, here's an announcement. It says the police is in need at Akochi on the Kaswa Senya Breku route. Now, as drivers, especially those of commercial vehicles, have taken the law into their own hands and worsening the heavy traffic on the stretch by using the shoulders of the road. So if the police can hear me, you're needed on that stretch of the road. That's Kaswa Senya Breku Road. So we're going. Gentlemen, final thoughts. Panji, let me start since you're next to me. We've had a lot of conversations. Music, business, and tourism. Your final thoughts on everything we've spoken about today.
Well, I think if we truly want to harness the tourist potential of the music business, we need to take the education into the primary schools now. It's been over 30 years since music was removed from primary school education. And as a bourgeois activity, meanwhile, there's nothing bourgeois about music. So this is what happens when you adopt. No, it's when you adopt foreign ideologies and you apply them to your environment. Because so I think it is time we take or we use music to get our culture and tradition back into our primary schools. Otherwise, we'll have nothing to sell in 50 years' time. Exactly. I think I am the last generation who learned how to sing certain songs. We learned certain dances. We just learned them by default. Nobody taught us. Yeah. But if I look now at my own children, unless somebody teaches them certain things, they are just not going to know them. So we need to teach everything that we want to sell in 50 years' time. We need to be teaching it in the schools tomorrow. Solid. Because we cannot sell anything unless we create it and we nurture it. Exactly.
We cannot sell anything unless we create and nurture. Trick, your final thoughts as we say goodbye.
I would say a big thank you to the Joy platform. Amazing conversation. I've learned a lot as well. And but what I leave us with is to borrow Rudy's word, be intentional. Let's have that mindset. And I think we have also slept on collaborations. And when I say collaborations amongst ourselves as people along the value chain. It's okay not to know something as a creative, but if Rudy knows, I think it's also appropriate to appreciate what he knows and have him contribute to the work or the job that you're doing. It's a professional space. It's a business space. It's something that we can't joke with, especially in these times where globalization is huge and where we are in a very exponential time. Like Sadiq has been saying all through, nobody's waiting for you. Like time is just running. And so it will be good for you if you upgrade yourself. So to my fellow creatives, upgrade, learn, reach out. It's not bad to reach out. If possible, join unions, be part of the unions, and then appreciate the efforts from them as well. And I'll use this opportunity to welcome you to join. Music Guys here, Ghana Music Alliance is there. I think it's about time it becomes an all-inclusive ecosystem. By default, it exists like that, but practically we are not functioning like that. So we should all come together. And thank you so much, Mr. Panji, for what you said. Next year, we're launching at Tentemben 1000. We're spreading 1,000 flutes, not enough, but it's a start across the country to make sure at least a few kids are learning and with our traditional flutes, and then they can also teach other kids that they play with.
Great, solid. Sadiq?
No, for me, I mean, this is a very good platform. I would wish that we would be able to maintain distance, and for our industry, I would want us to continuously be noticing the changing shifts and trends and see how we can take advantage of it. Even for the states, I would wish that one way or the other there would always be a way where a certain level of funding element to be available, even if it's through the banks, for business people in industry to be able to assess. I can understand how difficult it is sometimes to get investors to be able to pursue some of the things, but I think we should be business-minded. And to Musica and all the associations of industry that are, almost all of them are in courts, almost all of them going through legal troubles. Please take the advice Rudy gave. Yes, take the advice Rudy gave about trying to change the constitutions to make your organizations more like a professionally run organizations instead of the welfare. We've gradually realized that after so many years, it is not working. Over reliance on the constitutions that was borrowed for you to run and have you run it and all of those things is not working. So please, all of you, because almost all of them are incorrect, except that one. Almost all of them. Actors Guild, Musica, everybody, almost everybody is having one problem. Yes. But even for Gamro, they have that situation, right? They have an executive director, but of course it's the modernizing part of it that the likes of Trig and Ghana Music Alliance have been pushing. Maybe it's time for maybe the Attorney General to also give you a license to work for you. But please, for the groups, please take that advice serious where you can modernize it, turn it. I would wish that tomorrow would have a well-run musical with a youth league that is led by young people that would do massive drives and have a lot of young people interested in the affairs of musical.
Rudy?
I think my final word goes to all of us on the value chain. We need to understand that we do it together, not apart. Every one of us has a role to play. We cannot over-rely on one hand. Dear government, you can't over-rely on private sector to drive this, because at a certain point in time, you will decide that selling sugar is more important than being in the space. It has happened. Musicians don't like when I say this, but look very closely. The old managers of 10 years ago, when they all stopped managing our talent and went into business, are doing fantastically well, and the talents are nowhere to be found. It is a simple thing. What you give your time to must grow. If it doesn't grow, it's in the Bible, it's in every single spiritual book that you have. Shift. So which means we all have a role to play. And we can't keep sitting on the other side pouring millions of CDs into a space where the enabler is also not looking at it. You find a friendlier country and a friendlier space, and you shift your investment into that space. So both of us have a role to play. And to the actors in there themselves, like the people that are really driving it, the musicians, the writers, the producers, whatnot, and the planners and everything. Look, it is your cross to bear. You chose it.
That's it.
Let's shut up and do it.
Thank you very much. And before we go, my boss is here. We're going to take some closing remarks from programs director. My bad, sorry. It's Elevate. Sometimes I speak according to my height, so pardon me. Yeah, she's a big woman. Head of 90. Boss, good evening.
Good evening. And if I am not asking too much of us, can we give a round of applause for what we have witnessed here today? Thank you very much. I'd like to say that I am very excited. I have been sending Philip a lot of messages. I am very excited about what we are witnessing here today, not because it is a Joy FM, Joy Entertainment's production, also because I am a creative myself. I went to NAFTI, studied film and television for 4 years. And so everything I find myself doing today is rooted in the arts. And so this is a win-win for us, and I'm very excited about it. I'd like to also say a very big thank you to the panel. I'll describe it as fine brains, deep insights, and lots of learning here today we have witnessed. And for all of you who contributed, honestly, thank you all very much for making time to be here. 4 hours and counting. It only says that you're all very passionate about this industry and want to see it at that height. And this is one of our mission projects. We are going to be doing more. Please, for those of you listening to us at home, watching us on Facebook, and even went off on television, we are going to be rebroadcasting this conversation on Joy FM, on Joy Prime, on our Facebook platforms, and everywhere you can find it. We will share the rebroadcast dates. My reason: parents must not miss this conversation. Educational institutions must not miss this conversation. If you are a guardian, you must not miss it. Why, again, is that now we are nurturing a lot of young people into this talent space. Almost every home you pick, there is one person who probably is interested in dancing, is interested in music, is interested in one art or the other. And so you will have to listen to it, learn, and know what we are putting our children up to. It's not just about becoming famous and making money, But there's so much going on that you need to learn and know before pushing your children into this space. Look around us. So many kids reality shows on our Joy platforms. We have the Big Chef. We also have Nstroma on Adum, and lots of others on other platforms. How are we even grooming these children? I really do not know the stories behind. And so parents, guardians, educational institutions, if you are interested in a child becoming like, Trigmatic here and all the other big people we have around us and in our industry and beyond, this conversation is not for you. It's not just for the creative arts industry. And also let me use the opportunity before I go to say a very big thank you to my team led by Philip Nye. Please give that young one a round of applause for me. I don't know how he was able to get everybody into this room. I was on his neck, Phil, the round table, we go do them. Because me and I have piled up a lot of other works on him. Then in 2 weeks, he said, let's do it. And then here we are today. Like Rudy said, I just became an enabler. We need this. We need this, we need that. And I have to make sure that I am providing. But the brain behind it, the work behind it and everything, it's been him. Phil, thank you very much. And to the rest of the team, George, the whole team is not here. There are lots of people in the studios, TV studios, radio studios, in our online platforms. Thank you all very much for embracing this and for making it possible for us to see this day. I am very excited, and I promise that we are going to do more. And I pray and hope that the change we all seek and we are all so passionate about, the ones that rest on us, we will do them. But the one that rest on the policymakers also, we pray and hope that they are listening and they will make it happen for us. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. That would be our show. Let me say special thanks to my brother Quaye Outlook out there in Kumasi for my lovely shirt. This man delivered this in less than 24 hours. It actually flew. It was sent by, you know what I'm talking. And Pop Chain is happening at Plus 233 tonight. Don't miss it. We're going to go celebrate some music. My name is George Quaye. Thank you very much. God willing, we're here again next Saturday. Bonne nuit.